Whew, good evening, everybody. How's it going? Hopefully all is well. Just finishing things, getting things set up, and then I will unleash the horde. No. That sounds more dramatic than it should be. Yeah, cool. Do bear with. Let me... Should be able to see the game. Cool, and... Well, I guess...
With a wiper profile picture.
Yes. Hello, people.
Hello.
Oh, hang on. Sorry.
Hello.
How you doing?
I think none of these streamers.
Alright.
What just happened?
Hopefully that's the last of the interruptions. My lemon. My family members wanting to talk to me. Cool.
Now it's Whitman on the Abarth.
It's slightly sinking into the.
Oh
into rocks.
yeah, it is.
I'm mainly referring to the gaps between the bodywork and the bumpers.
Okay, yeah, so that's
Ooh.
yeah, so that's a little limitation, right? So if I remembered the buttons here, wrong button. So if I go back to the HQ, you'll see that
Oh, white body.
you can't change it. it's stuck like that because of like the spec that I have installed for the car. It makes it wide body by default, but I wanted to try and make it look as stock as possible. So everything is stock besides the fenders, because
Huge panel gaps,
yeah, you can't
which
change
could be
them.
seen as stock since it's a Fiat.
Exactly, yeah, that's a feature. There's a feature. Oh. Yeah, because I'm playing this through TCU. I've imported my save from that I exported from the original game. But obviously that didn't save like all of the awards and stuff. So basically anytime I do anything, I just get awards.
Get rewards.
Because like, oh hey, you've done this. And it's like, yeah, I already have, but you know. Have a race we want to do all the way over in Chicago. So we'll get that started. But yeah. A bit more of a scrappy start than I was expecting, but we're all here, we're all going. Hopefully
Yippee.
everything's all okay on the stream side. I don't know.
It's fine. Why are you racing a Lamborghini? Like I read before.
Because I am. Very competitive. I mean, there was only
Whoa.
4 cars. Oh,
There's
like
pedestrians in
450.
this game?
yes, there are
Yes.
pedestrians.
No, he's dead.
Knowingly, every time I come out of the game, it's gonna mute the audio, but that's whatever. But yeah, so I guess to kind of keep the ball rolling, the feedback form, obviously that's been open for like a week and a half now, and 21 responses are in, which is amazing. I wasn't sure how many I was expecting to begin with, but it's definitely more than I was expecting. Oops. And yeah, a lot of great feedback in there. Of course, the main thing being that people want this to continue, so that's good. We want the races to continue. It's definitely a good thing. But I have to keep having up the scroll through this. Ooh.
That's why you don't text and drive.
I don't recommend. Yeah, we don't condone this here in the Discord.
No text
We don't
driving. No. Yes, I guess the interesting point, I guess, to talk about hosting first. So yeah, the two leading candidates, obviously, were self-hosting and WSS. The majority vote just goes to WSS. But there are... I've received poor feedback that's kind of... that is... ooh. Alright, he killed himself there. That is both positive and detractive to either side. But it does seem like people will largely be okay with whatever. But yeah, my experience of WSS is basically 0, so I guess that's some homework over the weekend to have like a proper deep dive of what's on offer. A few of the people who did fill it out and have more experience with WSS have reached out to me and been like, hit me up if they need anything, so if that's one of you, thanks for that.
I am tech illiterate, so it was not me.
Oh god. And if we were gonna go self-hosting, people were mentioning, or there was a preference for a. Let's turn the game down a little bit, actually, just in case. It's a little. But it's not too much. But there was definitely a preference towards sort of renting a server provider rather than using my own, which makes sense. As I said before, I'm okay with copping up a few bucks if it means we can get, you know, that this works and works well. So, and I mean, if we're going for WSS, I'd have to pay anyway. So, you know, I'm okay with paying out a few buckos for a server provider. And actually, that can work out better because if I host like or if I rent out like a generic sort of server, I can use that for basically anything. Including, you know, eventually maybe building up a bit more of a, you know, building like a companion website maybe in a bit more structure around the server than it just being like a loose server in the ether somewhere.
Aceto Corsa server IP50.
It also means, yeah, people leak the IP address, they won't dox me.
We're
so.
good.
I
mean, I would hope that wouldn't happen. But,
no, huh?
You know.
But yeah, and yeah, people were generally in favor of having sort of public registration, or like having the races be like open to everyone, but having like kind of like how it is in most platforms where you register before the race starts. So that is interesting. I think that is a better way to do things, because say like, you know, for like custom liveries and stuff, you know, it allows people to actually we can actually set aside liveries for people and stuff. So I definitely am in agreement there. Let's see. Go down a little bit more.
Bit off topic, but I managed to set you up on my end correctly. To check the launch. You're the background content.
It's brilliant. But yeah, in terms of like the format stuff is pretty standard.
Definitely didn't spend the past 10 minutes of you being to set it up in the background.
But yeah, for the general format stuff, people are pretty fine with what we've got. There was some feedback regarding stuff like dropped scores and endurance races and stuff like that, which drop scores I do think is an interesting idea that we maybe could explore, because I mean, as we've seen throughout the years in SRS, you miss one race and that's your whole championship blown. You don't want to drop too many points, because otherwise then, you know, it becomes dependent on just doing like 2 good races or whatever and you win the championship. But maybe allowing like 1, I think that would be okay. So it's like your top 5 results from the season go through. So if you miss 1, it's not gonna like blow everything up. But I don't know, it's something we can maybe poll on later down the line. But endurance stuff is an interesting one, or having more special one-offs, right? Like with doing things ourselves, from what I've briefly seen, WSS can support this as well. So this can apply regardless of which host I decide to go for in the end. You know, we can sort of do regular season and then interject special events in between each season. What those will be and what those will look like, we'll decide throughout time, but I think that's definitely something we could do to add a little bit more variety and, you know, give people a little break between seasons.
24 hours of Nürburgring.
No.
With 6 people.
No.
Oh, man.
Hell
The thing
no.
with WSS is that you mentioned people making liveries and whatnot. As far as I know, you need to pay yourself
Yes.
to upload your own liveries. And it's not as straightforward as SRS was with the usernames. Michael sent me once a replay of one WSS race, and even though I had his livery based on, you know, how it was shared with SRS, I couldn't just get his livery to show up in the replay because WSS used a different folder structure. So it was just a bunch of random numbers, and you cannot really assign it to a specific player unless you know the number of that player, I'm guessing. So it's probably somewhat similar to how when you like look at Steam screenshots, it's just a bunch of random folders and you need to remember which folder name is what.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's a good point. Yeah, that is definitely one of the big detractors of WSS. Is for one, yeah, we would largely lose a lot of the, you know, we pretty much largely lose the livery creation stuff, which I do think, you know, while it is a smaller part, I would say is a nice little part of the identity we've built up. You know, having people being able to showcase and express themselves a little bit more through custom liveries. And yeah,
like
WSS, you do
I
have to
think.
pay for that, so that is something that we would lose out on. Also, WSS generally is yeah, it's a bit less. It would grant us less freedom. Than what we would have normally. So, like, in terms of content, in terms of, well, everything really. Because we're bound to whatever parameters they've set up and whatever content they have. I have seen with the, like, premium membership that allows you to host your own championships and stuff, you can request extra content. So, like, if we wanted to use a mod that they don't have, we can tell them, hey, we want to use this, can you, like, add it? But, ultimately,
Do they have
it is
restrictions
down...
on them?
I don't know, but it is still ultimately down to them to decide. Like, we can suggest, thing and request things to be added, but whether or not they approve them is,
So we can ask for, we can ask for, hey, can we have Midnight Club R32 Skyline GTR?
Oh, God,
They don't
that
approve.
will die.
Oh, he died.
Yeah, he did die.
By that point, I'm afraid it would end up, or likely, or could be, and ending up in a similar situation where Sim Racing GP was, where you could request mods, but from what I've heard from those who were hosting there before the whole fuel system was implemented,
Oh, God, yeah.
it was favoritism at its finest, from what I've heard.
Oh, yeah.
Allegedly, allegedly.
Yeah, I don't want to mistrust WSS, but I've never used the system, and I can't help but be like, it's not as tight knit as it was with SRS.
No,
And they
yeah,
could
definitely.
probably screw us over more than once, enough to lead to a bit of frustration mounting.
I
But
was also
essentially-
once in a voice chat on another Discord where before the race we were talking about the different systems at the time, and one of them mentioned that we were hosting a series that was fairly popular, and WSS came along and literally started to host their new series, which was next to identical their own series, their community series, and just drove away the people who were joining those races originally.
Yeah, that's definitely a risk. But yeah, I mean, WSS, the benefits to WSS, at least from the way I understand it, would be, well, everything's set up already, right? Like, they would handle a lot of the grunt work. A lot of the framework and the structure is already there to support what we want to do. So it's easier to work with and whatnot. And also, sort of just general, like, more exposure. It's on a platform that people look at, and more people are likely to find it. Because a few people did bring up to me, the sort of thing like, how are we going to get more people in? Or how are we going to, Well, yeah, get more people in and keep a rolling amount of people. Because, people come and go. And it's like, well, if we self-hosted, it would be entirely on me to promote it and whatnot. Which would be...
We will be doomed.
To the watchers of the chat here, in other words, we would be, as the kids say it, cooked.
But that's a good word, right? People, like kids, still say, let them cook, so...
Yeah, but if
True,
you
but when you let
cook-
somebody cook, you gotta eventually get them out of the kitchen.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is that it's double standards. Sim racing at its finest.
True.
Exactly.
We lost a viewer.
Stream's over. But yeah. So WSS would mean more exposure, easier to work with and whatnot, theoretically. Less effort on my behalf needed. but at the cost of more paywalls, being at the behest of a third party, and less freedom compared to self-hosting. And I won't lie, you know, obviously my personal preference is to do it as much myself as I can, but I do also know that that will be a lot of work. And, you know, ultimately depends on whether or not that's a viable compromise. Like, who knows, maybe WSS could work out as an early bridge, and then later on, I don't know. I do want to spend a little bit more time sort of browsing around our WSS, snooping around a little bit. I did hear that they need, apparently a couple of apps are required as well to race there. Well, I missed the turn. Oops. Too busy talking. But I'd have to look up on what those are.
From memory, they have their own pin, or what is it, registry app. So it's like a separate DXC.
Okay.
So with some of the races you can register in the browser, but some of them you can only register through, I think, either through Content Manager or their app. My memory is a bit blurry on that. But the things that I liked with WSS was the practice lobbies before the races. I don't know if they are still there or if they are there for every single type of race. But from what I remember, that was a cool addition, because you could join a practice server with those who registered for those races.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely a nice thing. Why it's not something I would use very often. I do remember, like, back in iRacing and stuff, that was they offer the same. Like, when you register for a race, you can just jump into like a practice pool with people until your session's ready, and then jump out and go into that session, which was nice. I think on the move, if I was to self-host, at least in the short term, I'd likely keep a longer practice window open. You know, because obviously, like in SRS, we have like the 5-minute window. But I don't know. I'd have to test it out, especially if like a booking system or whatnot. I'm all over the road. How those two would work, right? Because obviously with SRS you had the 5-minute cutoff that would then start like a short practice after it sort of put the server together. And that practice wasn't really much of a practice, it was more to just get everyone in the server. So I'd have to look at how it all works in a bit more detail. Hope that car's going backwards.
What was he doing?
Whatever you do, just please don't do the things that investors did in that. I wouldn't say in the last year or so, but when there was still those generic lists or generic championships, where for some reason the server setting just made no sense. Like 20-minute long race, but the tire wear was pumped up to 2 or 3 times. So everyone just stuck to the hard tires. Like, didn't really make for stuff, I feel.
I think that can work, but it's something you've gotta set right. Because have it done.
Have it worked in the long run?
In
But
the
they didn't
past
stuck
when we-
around. I'm talking about the SRS stuff.
Oh,
the
yeah,
one
yeah,
that
the
Henry
generic-
put together.
The generic SRS stuff is whatever. But I mean, you know, from at least from my experience, my side, I know when we did the Formula One cars, the 2007 McLaren and Ferrari, we used fuel and tire wear multipliers there, and I think that worked quite well actually. Actually, did we run tires or was it just fuel? I can't remember. I know we definitely had fuel because it was pretty funny. I think we did run tires as well though.
I
So you
remember
could
it
qualify
usually
on
being
the
both tire and fuel wear.
Yeah, I think it was both. Yeah, yeah. 'Cause I think you could run the softs in like qualifying, but then in the race you'd probably run the mediums or the hards, depending on how much load was going through the tires.
Sadly, the only thing I remember from that series is getting cut off in one of the races.
But I do remember it was pretty funny in that series. Because of the increased fuel burn, we burnt through like pretty much the whole tank in one race, in like the 20 minutes. Of course, it was back in the era when they had refueling, so the cars weren't designed to last the whole race anyways. But I felt that made it interesting, right? Because we started off with really heavy cars and they lightened up a lot. So as the tires wore off, the fuel kind of counteracted that. And so the car was pretty different every lap.
For me, that for like if it's just like 10 to 20 minutes long race, having that hit kind of bumped on tire wear or bumped on fuel just kind of feels gimmicky. Like you're saying, yeah, it feels different every single lap, but how do you even practice for that? How do you even prepare for that if you make it into a championship?
How do you practice for that? Well, it's easy. You just set those when you run on your own. You can set the multipliers for solo running.
you can.
So even in base AC launcher, you could do that. So, oh god.
Yeah, you can set up the sessions, but I don't know. Yeah. To me, it just feels a bit more gimmicky.
I mean, I can understand the gimmicky thing. It's not gonna be for everyone.
Because, like, you wouldn't it feel more? I don't know. I don't know what's the perfect term for this, but wouldn't it be more user friendly or I don't know, welcoming if it was more like just standard settings? It kind of feels a bit sweaty to me. Like, we're gonna race this, but your car will feel different every single lap, so you need to practice for that kind of situation instead of just learn the car and learn the circuit.
To be honest,
Gimmicky,
I
I'd
think,
agree with, but sweaty, not really. Because I mean, also like I feel like there's kind of a line, right? Because sure, we can make things more easy and accessible, but that reaches a point where you end up hobbling yourself if you go too far, because you really limit what you can do. I mean, when I started hosting, obviously I took over from James, and James often picked relatively safe cars, let's say, you know. Cars with not too much power, they weren't very big, they were pretty easy most of the time to get around the track, you know. They didn't require too much effort, they didn't have any crazy setups or whatever that you had to really think about. And while that was nice, it did kind of limit the scope a bit. And that was especially and that was something that I kind of realized when I did it, because I kind of kept on that same ethos largely. And that was why when I started doing when I was able to get a second race slot, I thought, oh, you know, I have another slot now where I can kind of play around with some ideas that are maybe a little more off-kilter, that, you know, maybe works, maybe don't.
So that explains your questionable choices sometimes.
I mean, that's the thing. You never know how something's really... Like, I can do as much testing as I want on my own against the AI, playing around with different settings, cars, tracks, and whatever. But you're never really going to know how it works out until you join that first race. And you get everybody in, and you do it. And then you do the rest of the races.
It might gonna sound a bit of a hot take from me, but I feel that your two race or the two different series schedule was a bit of a how should I word that? It was a bit of a negative factor because you after a while you ended up not testing as much as you would feel. Or in some series, as you mentioned, that you literally just threw together the list last minute. So I feel like after a while it became a backfiring thing on your end.
To be fair, it didn't really. I likely would have done the same even if I was just doing one series. It just meant that I now had to think of more. So while yes, you are kind of right, I think overall it's maybe less of an impact than you maybe would have initially have thought. Because I don't
Is it just me who thinks it that way from us there?
I mean, like, I definitely... like, it does... You are right in that sense. Like, sometimes I would have one idea, but I wouldn't have another. Like, the harder part was coming up with 2 ideas every 6 weeks. I typically have one idea that I think is good, and then have to cobble up something else. Sometimes I'd have 2. But more often than not, I'd have like one idea that I'm like, yeah, this works, and I'll slot that in wherever I felt was appropriate. But in terms of testing, I don't think I ever really did. It varied from series to series, but I don't think I ever did a crazy amount of testing. Maybe like a couple of hours at most.
I guess a better term for me would to say would be like you stretch yourself a bit too wide.
Yeah.
Kind of. I mean, yeah, as I did mention just now, you know, coming up with 2 series every 6 weeks was kind of difficult, but it does also feel a little... It does feel a little lackluster only doing one race. Right, that's kind of why... That's why I wanted to do it in the first place and pushed Enrique for it, because, you know, the daily series... The daily series came to an end, and I used to do those on top of my own race. Which made sense, because, well, nobody did the daily series, really. Anymore. Like, participation dropped off because nobody was really interested. And that was kind of mirrored in the feedback I received, because, you know, people have commented that they are interested in the kind of more quirky and off-kilter ideas. Maybe not like some of the more extreme ones I've done, but, you know, things that aren't what you would normally see around.
I personally love the cross-cart oval.
That was
come
pretty
on,
fun,
that's peak, like that's peak, you know.
That was pretty.
Yeah,
fun.
like no wonder participation stopped for the daily series because half of them were just GT3s.
Yeah, exactly.
And they will
yeah.
never, they will
no
never
cross-cart.
be OP'd for years.
What a
Yeah,
cross-cart.
You joined the series, you saw the McLarens were half of the field. All right, I'm in class 2.
Yeah.
The thing is, oh yeah, that happened to me once because like I joined the first cross-cart race and I was like, oh my god, this is so
Oh,
cool.
yeah, the
I'm gonna
win
be
stream.
on the stream. And I was like on class 2, there was one other dude and I laughed.
Oh, and I didn't even mean it that way. I was like, yeah, you see who's registered with which cars. You knew that if people were registering with the McLaren, they will be at the top half of the field. So even
Oh.
if there was just one split, you will be literally in a multi-class race. Like those cars, they will never be OP'd.
Yeah,
Like
the
there was no
GT3
BOP on
is
SRS
terrible.
for the normal series.
Yeah. But even when they weren't GT3s, because I think the one that was immediately after my race and James's race in the past, I think most of the time that wasn't GT3, but even then it was still kind of, it was very safe picks. Like it'd be like the 911 GT3 Cup, which or the Corvette C7R, or the Ferrari 458 GT2, or the Caterham, or the Ginetta. And while those cars are cool,
God, the Ginetta.
they were just
Yeah,
at like
that's the
really
most boring.
basic tracks, right? There was, you know, like Barcelona, Donington, and whatnot. And like, you know, the combos were fine, but they were nothing really inspired. And
But-
there was
Okay, fine. I have to stop you right there. With all these beautiful courses, you go ahead and you pick Barcelona with the chicane. Come on. Like that's just so bad.
I
Also,
like
the Ginetta sucks.
I
So
like
boring.
No.
I like Silverstone International, but I wouldn't pick that GT5 Ginetta for it. Because that has like a long straight, but those cars on it just feel boring.
It's just,
thought
it
it was
just
alright.
handles like way too simple, too easy.
sometimes
Like I couldn't drive the Lola to save my life, but I had more fun in that being like second to last than
Donny and
The other
the other Sean Clark Racing guy is were hosting that Ginetta as well, and they picked some pretty cool circuits for that, like Barbagallo or whatever they call it these
Yeah.
days. That was a pretty good combo for that.
Oh,
The first
God.
series that I joined on SRS was the Audi TT Cup, and well, not the Audi TT Cup, the Audi TT VLN,
yeah.
same stuff.
oh,
And the Ginetta at the same time, because they were back to back, and even in that series, Barbagallo was there, and that was a pretty good race at the time as well. I was in Split 2, but again, SRS being SRS, Split 2 races don't count.
They don't
They
count
only
the
count in
games.
participation, but the
Yeah.
results don't count in the results. So
we have a
they
sound
do
for that,
count
it's
to
called-
the championship, but you would be less. So
yeah, like you get much less points,
yeah,
I guess. I guess the other
I think a win in
other-
race 2 is the equivalent of finishing 10th in split 1.
yeah, it's like divided by 10.
Obviously, back then as well, you had the incident points, so that changed things a little bit. But yeah, it would be the equivalent of finishing 10th in split 1.
I think the
Provided
most
nobody
fun
got any incident points.
series.
imagine if that was the case in real life as well. Yeah, there would be
fun.
no outrage whatsoever.
I think the most fun series I remember from my time was, I guess the top cars, because the car was good, and the circuit. Well, the car also sounded great. I know it was a stock AC sound, but and the circuits were great. I remember that Chinese or whatever street track was actually pretty damn sick.
Oh, I
I
think
don't
that's
remember the
in
name.
Singapore.
Sorry, Singaporeans in the chat. Oh, we lost a viewer. Um,
Sorry, Ray.
sorry guys. Well, you had Silverstone, which I mean,
Orchard
fine,
Road?
but like in that car, it was fun. You had the Oval as well, which was a lot of fun in that car.
Yeah,
The only
mine's
one I
was
didn't
great.
like, which nobody liked, was the stupid ass final track that you put in there.
Yeah, I think some people did like it.
Okay, well, I mean, I didn't, so
You
my
didn't
opinion
like it
counts
because you
for
got
five people.
murdered. So
Well, not all. True, but I got that guy banned within like an hour. But also, like that track was just too buggy, too hard. I think the top card needed a track that like you can make like a little bit of a
excuse
slight
me?
mistake. Not a track where you go into the barrier and get stuck for 30 minutes. Or you get it stuck in the quicksand grass. Like in any slower car, that could have been a really fun track, but I think the top car was too fast. But even
Maybe.
then,
It was definitely an off-kilter pick. I thought, let's add a little bit of Jeopardy in. He's just like windy
the
track
Jeopardy
through
in
German
question.
forest.
yeah, I didn't come out the other side. But yeah, a lot of the track picks, I would say good to great. I remember enjoying. Honestly, I did enjoy just the ovals a lot because I feel like that's just the type of racing that I like. But again, something like that Singaporean street track, or what was that American one called? Was it Miami? What was it? I don't remember.
Oh, Thermalita?
The one we used. No,
No.
the one you used in the 8.6. That was a street track.
Oh, St. Petersburg.
Yes.
Where we
Yeah,
all
that one-
crashed
that
at
one was-
or not
Yeah, that
Terminal,
was
sorry. Where we all
peak.
crashed at the first heavy braking zone, yeah.
Well, that was peak.
It's an all-time classic.
I think you should
race, that
use
one.
a lot more street tracks.
I do try and
I like a good
intersperse them.
I like a
Yeah.
good permanent circuit, but I think street tracks are more fun.
Let's meet in the middle and get Adelaide.
True.
Yeah, that was
it-
never on. Wait,
Listen to
but-
me. Ed.
You never picked Adelaide, didn't you?
Is there even
Yep.
I
an
think he
SRS
did at
approved
one
version?
point.
It was in the SRS list, and it was always chaos when it was picked.
Oh
I think
yeah,
he did.
right. Yeah, I remember.
I remember
Ozzy's
having
thing was
a-
to pick
I
it
remember
in the
having-
airlock.
I remember avoiding one nasty crash ahead of me on Adelaide where you guys was bumping off the wall and I went through the puff of smoke that you left behind.
In my thought when it comes to cars, I liked a lot of more off-kilter picks. I don't care for the GT3 or the hey guys, let's drive an Audi TT around. It has a big aero kit. Ooh, I'm having so much fun with this front-wheel drive. Gran
Yeah,
Turismo
this-
3
this
wheel
kind
spin
of
sound
has-
effect. But like a lot of the second race picks were so much more fun, like the Viper versus Corvette, or I know that one was a little unbalanced, but it was still fun to see. The crosscar, the Lola.
I mean, the second race in
The
my
rally
eyes
cars.
has always been the more main race. So typically, like that's where I'd focus the
Well,
the
the good picks.
stronger idea that I'd have for each season.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, but
typically when
those
it
were
came
more
to
fun.
positioning the two races, I think what would be the one people would be more likely to like and sort of stick that one, or the one I'd more want. I think
I
would
think
be
a lot
more
of us
interesting.
stuck around for the first one anyway because like you know it's a nice fun warm up and then you get the other race which is like you're
Yeah.
already good to go. Doesn't help that like they're back to back still. But yeah, the thing is as well, which if I may, I wanted to transition to setups. A lot of these cars were a little ruined. I'm not gonna say they were ruined, but like they were a little ruined by the setup because, like, for example, with the cross guard, how am I meant to know that the window netting takes away 20 kilometers an hour of trailing speed?
Yeah, I think that's just ow. I think that's just a general mod thing that we're never really gonna be able to get by. But yeah, that was a really egregiously dumb example.
That was annoying.
Um,
So in the second race, I think it was like this small track. I think it was Barbagallo, wasn't it?
I mean, it was Barbagello, yeah, because there's the long
Yeah.
back straight at Barbagello, or relatively long for the
yeah,
cross car.
well, for these things. So
Um,
I had the
and yeah,
window
you were
netting
way slower.
equipped. I had the window netting equipped, and everybody who did not have the window netting was like zooming past me on the straights, and it's like, oh yeah, this adds like 50 kilos of drag, and I'm like, oh, okay.
What? That sounds ridiculous.
Yeah, that was.
Well, it wasn't that bad.
An
I was
actual
like
thing.
noticeably slower even when slipstreaming, and it's like, oh well, I didn't know that. Fuck me, I guess. Cool.
Yeah, well, yeah, it was really dumb.
Or cars that are just hard to set up, like the Lola. You know, just I would say keep everything stock setting. I know it's not very popular
No.
opinion, but
in terms of the
car with
fix-
50 billion setups.
But then you couldn't race the Toyota A86.
But
The 86 didn't have many.
yeah, so with the fixed setup thing, I'd say you're actually in the minority there, because most people did say they were okay with fixed setups as long as the fixed setup didn't suck, and not just.
yeah, I was one of them. I would like to change my answer a little bit because looking back to those races, it was a little sometimes.
But an interesting idea that I would like to explore, whether I'd actually use it or not is a different question, is the idea of partially fixed setups. So this basically, at least from what I understand it, whatever settings you have in the setup you set as fixed, right, will be the settings that get locked down. But if those settings aren't included, you can still change them. Which means, right,
How do you enforce it?
you can say, so like Formula 1 cars, for example, they've got 1,000,001 different setup options, and people do complain sometimes. That's why when I did the 2007 Formula 1s, I made them fixed setup. Because I know people tend to complain, they're like, oh no, these cars have too many setup options, and we'll never understand them all. And that's a fair enough complaint. It is overwhelming. And not everybody is going to be down with that, right? Because, you know, there's always the chance that there's a bit of extra time you can gain from changing some random ass spring that sits behind the driver's head or some shit, like, that apparently will gain you, like, a tenth a lap or whatever. But I haven't tested the idea yet, so I don't really know. As far as I'm aware, it should work, but theoretically speaking, you could have, you know, a Formula 1 championship, but the setup is much more restricted. So you can only say, like, you can only change the downforce. Well, modern Formula 1 cars, you can't even change the gearing by default. But, like, say you could only change, like, the downforce, some of the, like, basic suspension stuff, like the ride height, stiffness, anti-roll bars, and, like, that'll be it. I don't know whether or not people would necessarily like that, but I think that could be an interesting middle ground idea to explore. Because then it means, like, you don't...
It doesn't close the door on the possibility of someone finding a shortcut for something and then exploiting the setup. Like, the possibility doesn't get closed by that. Like what you just did is scramble. Oh, there are million settings. You restrict it to like 5 or 6. People can still, if they really want to look into it, can still find an exploit somewhere.
I mean, yeah, but that's going to happen regardless, right? People will even find exploits using, like, fixed setups and whatnot, right? They'll find ways to drive the car that make it faster and whatnot, even if those ways might not be intuitive, right? You're never going to stop exploits. You're never going to...
You still need to spend a lot of time testing the car with those limited setup options, like before submitting that half fixed setup.
Yeah, like that's a lot on you to test.
Not really.
I mean, is it though? It feels
I
like
don't
to
think
me
so,
like
no.
it'll be a lot.
Nah. You just think about what are the core basics to change, and that's it.
Camber springs.
Differential.
I think
Yeah.
it'd be better because it lowers the learning curve, right?
The thing
You
is,
know,
how do you
some people-
enforce
some people
a partial
enter-
setup?
well, like I said, you use the fix setup, but you only fix certain settings.
Can you do that?
Theoretically, I believe you can, but as I said, I haven't tested it. So it
Yeah,
is
'cause the
something I want
alternative
to
is-
explore more. But it's kind of an idea that I've been thinking about, like, and I've never really gotten around to testing. But I do intend to at some point.
Yeah, because the alternative is you leave the setup open and tell people, hey, only change the camera, and then it's a free for all.
Yeah.
The possibility is
Fascinating.
still there that you miss one thing and people will exploit that.
I mean,
I guess you
think,
fix it
honestly,
for the next
right,
race.
okay, so as I said, I think the exploit discussion is moot. Because it's going to happen regardless, and there's always going to be the chance I miss something. No, I could sit and test the car for hundreds and thousands of hours. I could make a car myself from scratch, and I could still miss an exploit.
Cappuccino,
somebody-
super realistic spec.
That somebody will just exploit in the race. Whether that's something that you can gain through the setup, or whether that's something you can gain from driving the car in a specific way, it's gonna happen. And so it's not... unless there's some glaring exploit that everybody knows about, then it's not something I'm gonna be thinking about. Like, say, if we ever ran the cross carts again, right, I'd maybe just, say if, like, the partial fixed idea worked, I'd just make it, like, even if it was a fully open, I'd just make it so everyone's window nets were off by default, right? Because then that's not a problem anymore. You're not going to be penalized for running a window net because you can't run the window. But, like, people are always going to find tricks. When you say, like, look at, like, the speedrunning world, right? There are games out there that are 30 plus years old and have maintained a dedicated speedrunning community for most of those years. And people are still, to this very day, finding new ways to break the game and new exploits and tricks and whatnot that people have never thought about.
But are you catering towards those kind of drivers here?
No.
No, but like your insinuation would imply so much extra work for me that is just not worth it. On the hypothetical chance that somebody finds an exploit, which even if I do put in all that effort, they'll likely still find anyways. Because it would, for me to be able to find every exploit possible in a car would require a level of technical understanding of the game and everything that I just don't have. So I think it's something that is both unfeasible and not worth it.
So the basic question I think I can boil it down to is that are you aiming to do like serious championships or just goofy championships for fun?
Leaning more into fun, but basically the same as what we've had on SRS for the past couple of years, right? They're quote unquote serious championships. I know some people do take them a little bit too seriously still, but most people take them pretty lighthearted, right? But there's still an emphasis on being, respectful and doing things quote unquote properly, albeit properly is very loosely defined.
So you aim for the middle ground.
Essentially, yeah. Like, I don't want things to get incredibly sweaty. Because that's something I've never really been a fan of. But it's also something you can't really stop without shooting yourself in the foot. And I'd say, if anything, it's something that more needs to be done through sort of like fostering community change than through sort of fostering that in the community ethos rather than putting in like diehard rules that say you must do this or you must do that or you can't do this and you can't do that sort of thing. That's one thing I want to avoid, right? I was looking at I saw WSS as like a rules page when I was looking, and then they've got like the whole like racing man. It's like, oh, they got like some basic rules about like platform etiquette and stuff like that, and then like the page keeps going and going and going, and they've basically just copy and pasted verbatim like an excerpt from like a how to race people book, talking about all these like pedantic rulings and stuff like that. And, if it has to come to that, then sure. But, at least at the moment, I think we're okay sort of running off a gentleman's code. And once that starts being broken and pissed all over... Oh, dear. Alright, I somehow didn't die from that.
Yeah, but
then...
if you join the ESA, if you join WSS, then you will be forced to use those rules. So, the gentleman agreement
yes,
kind of moot then.
Yes and no. So, there is a clause...
If it was like SGP, you couldn't enforce your own rulings because that's just a platform to communities to do that stuff there.
You kind of can still. There is a clause in there that states that community series will be, are beholden to their own rules. So you are, it says, it's something along the lines of like, series run by their own, can run differing rules. So check with the series details or organizers.
That doesn't sound like a loophole whatsoever.
No, but it does
Here's
mean
like 20 pages. Here's like 20 pages of rules, but the communities have their own rulebook.
Yeah, I mean, it's more. I guess it's more of a guideline, right? Like, you can stick these racing manifestos anywhere, and like, nobody's gonna read them in full. Let's be real here. But if you really wanted to slap someone in the wrist for driving like a knob, you can be like, "There's a rule. You didn't follow it. Therefore, ban hammer."
I'd still take that 20-page book and go over what his handles of wake stuff.
Yeah, the SRS rules were never really great.
Nonsense.
And that's the thing, like, yeah, we basically didn't really... We basically made up our own set of rules, really. Because at the end of the day, it was all self-governed.
And Henrik still accepted them. Like that. That's the funny part.
At the end of the day, it basically was self-governed because, like, the only way people were really going to get banned was either through the incident limit, which as time went on became harder and harder to hit because, a lot of the people who would hit it left. And the impact of it became less and less as there were less races to join.
And at one point it was completely butchered. Or rather made, mute. Like they removed the incident increase for, for making contact with others or whatever. Like there was one change where I remember just saying Discord being like, "Yeah, finally!" It's like, okay,
Was that not when they took away losing points for incidents?
Oh yeah, the champion relation to it, yeah. It's like if
that was always a very divisive thing.
It felt to me like I think it was, I don't know, panic move to keep people on the platform longer.
Well, the thing was, it was divisive. Not everybody was in agreement of it. There were a bunch of Doom posters on the forum at the time who were like, oh no, the racing standards are gonna go down the toilet, we're gonna become public lobbies now, all order and chaos is lost. But in reality, nothing changed.
Which
So-
has now meant that if you get into the odd scuffle,
I mean,
it
I
doesn't
think
mean you like lose positions.
Yeah, I think incident averages did go up, but only very slightly, right? Like, people weren't frightened of getting a little scratch here or there, a little door bang. It was whatever, you know? Like, that's just racing. But yeah, it was very divisive, I would have said, back when it happened.
I mean, they could have started. I said they. It's a one-man army.
Yeah.
Like he could have just did a middle ground. Let's say if you reach about 10 incident points in a race, you get 1 point reduction or something. Not literally jumping a gun and deleting
Instantly,
half
yeah.
of the system.
That's the thing, it was very harsh. And I think that's one of the things we saw over like the platform's twilight years, right? Was the loosening of a lot of rules, and I think that's because a lot of these things made more sense from like a running point of view when the platform was much bigger, right? Because it allowed things to self-govern more. Like when SRS was like huge, right, and there were, every race, every hour of the day was populated. I think having that kind of system made sense because, it kind of enforced a cleaner standard of driving. Because, like, if you touch people, you're gonna lose points. Yeah, harsh, yes, but I think it did work in terms of drilling into people that, oh, hey, I shouldn't crash into people because this will directly, especially if I have any kind of care about the championship, because it will hurt me in that regard. But obviously, yeah, as it kind of wound down over the years, it made it, those things started to make less sense because they weren't really needed anymore.
I mean, that's the assumption that everyone who raced, like the majority of those who still race on SRS, cared about the championship side of things. Because I wouldn't be surprised if there were a good majority of people who really just were there for the one-off or maybe 2-3 races per weekend, then dipped, maybe went somewhere else, cared about something else.
But
Went on with their day.
Yeah, from the feedback I've gotten, actually, people did, majority of people do want championships to stay. There was only a couple who said, nah, do away with series completely and just do one-offs. So I think people do like the idea. Whether or not they care about, actually contesting the championship, or if it's just they like the fact that, oh, I can drive this car for, multiple times and get more familiar with it, right? And have a chance to drive it in a variety of tracks. I don't know. How many people explicitly care about the competition side of things, but people do seem to want them to stay. But I do think I do agree with those who raised the sentiment about potentially having like drop scores and whatnot. Because obviously you'd miss one race and that was it, championship over. You'd be completely out of the running in the points, and there was no way you could really recover from that. Which, if your goal was to try and get a decent place in the championship, then that's kind of going to kill your motivation, right? Because life happens, and you're not going to be able to do every single race under the sun.
I feel really stupid when I joined one series outside of SRS and didn't know what drop score meant. I thought that means that those are the races that I'm allowed to not take part in instead of
Oh.
losing that amount of worst finishes. So in a 10, was it 10 or 12 races, I thought that I could only skip 2 instead of stating that I will lose 2 results.
Yeah, I do think an automatic, like, sort of dropped score system could definitely be something. Because a really bad idea would be to do what WRC2 currently does. And I'm glad that nobody else really does it, because it's pretty stupid. And it's actually what the WRC itself used to do back in the day as well. Where you would... Obviously, you've got all the events in the year, right? But you could only elect a certain number of them to score points in. So there are some rallies in the year where basically nobody turns up to.
Amazing.
But the points still count. If you've elected that round to score points, then, you know, easy pickings. It's kind of like the daily races or like hourly races even in SRS. You know, you could pick the time slots that better suited you and gave you easier grids, right?
Yeah.
And all points would count to the overall, so you just pick whichever one you wanted.
Yeah, I mentioned that the first series that I did on SRS was those 1 hour long races. Because I messed up the registering for James's race. And so I joined the race after that, which was a 1 hour long race with the Audi. And like, I've decided that I'm gonna go through with all 6 races, or like all 6 weeks, only do the races where James takes part. But even after like 3 weeks in, I realized that I could pretty much just overtake him in points if I raced on Tuesday as well, or any other day, because on Tuesdays there were significantly less participation.
Yeah.
So just by showing up and not crashing and even finishing last or finishing somewhere around in the top 10s, I could have easily secured my points ahead of James. And it didn't take long for me to realize that either. So if someone who joins SRS and in the first series realizes that there's something significantly flawed with the system, then what are the chances that they will care about championships moving forward? If one series is, you know, 1 race per week, another one is 3 to how many you want to do. I think back then it was the top 5 race, the first 5 races that you did, the best result from that, and after that it was the
It's an average result.
Yeah, average points. And then later that one is removed as well. So like, it was one series being the more serious type, but it's 1 race per week, and the other one is do whatever you want. It's just a series, but not really. But still a series. Same, but different, but still the same. Inside the game.
I mean, that was definitely a move to try and boost the numbers. So obviously, yeah, if you've done 5 races, you didn't want to do any more because that would hobble you effectively. You know, one bad race would bring it all down, and so you wanted to avoid that.
That's why it frustrates me that even though there were so many moves later down the line to make it more, you know, user friendly and whatnot, the combos picked for those generic series were that generic, as we discussed. Half of them were still GT3s with no BOP. Other half, as we pointed out the examples, either with nonsense setup, setup modifiers or whatnot, or session modifiers. even the attempt at nighttime racing in Fast Short, like there was barely any interest, and it was quickly found out that it was just a CSP setting that you can turn off.
Well, I think that's more of a fundamental problem, right? Because I don't think there's any way you can enforce that. Because you can always just, even if you forced CSP on, you could always just turn off weather effects and bada bing, bada boom, no nighttime.
Yeah.
At
the same time-
I totally didn't do that.
Yeah, he totally
I mean,
didn't have.
not. That was more.
CSP.
In my defense, that wasn't intentional. It was more just negligence.
Accident.
Not accidental, no. It wasn't accidental. It was just negligence. I just didn't bother turning it on or setting it up because I didn't have it set up at the time actually with weather effects. So even if I did turn it on, I wouldn't have had the nighttime. Because I still have a very minimalist preset for CSP. But I've slowly tweaked to just have whatever I need. And
I still feel like you're making it harder for yourself by constantly turning it off and on. Instead of just having that minimalist preset on all the time.
He doesn't want to use it when he doesn't have to.
There might be some setting I'm missing, but I do find that the game runs not really worse, because it still runs at a smooth 60. But my PC becomes louder whenever I have it on. Like the fans start whirring up a lot harder. There
Do you
probably
use any
is
fan
some-
presets?
Any what?
Any fan presets or fan tweaker?
No.
Ah, man. There you go. Even I use Afterburner, whatever it's got. Yeah, I must say Afterburner. I have a basic fan preset on it. Probably what happens with your fans is that you reach one specific, maybe 1 or 2 C higher than usual with the temperature, and all of a sudden it goes up to 100 or something.
I don't know. But I do think CSP does add, like, as I said, I think there are some optimization settings. I can't remember if I played around with those much or not. But I think it does put extra graphical load onto AC that isn't
Yeah, there's a
normally
minimum
there.
effect, yeah.
So yeah, I mean, turning a tick box on and off isn't the end of the world. So I don't find it that much of a hassle. But yeah, one point I did want to raise earlier, we talked about, but we kind of went way off the plot, was when we were talking about content, right? You mentioned Adelaide, and I had completely... I'll be honest, I completely had forgotten that there even was an Adelaide mod. I think that's kind of a problem with AC in general, really. Is it's great that the modding community is so big, but it also is kind of a problem that the modding community is so big. Because there is just so much stuff out there.
I wouldn't count that a problem behind the modding scene when Adelaide is in alphabetical order, very high up on the list for the SRS master list, because there was a master list on SRS. So if you were checking that list, it was pretty high up, pretty much one of the first results that after like the 60 series racetracks.
I didn't really check that list later on, to be honest.
I wouldn't write that up to the problem within the community, the modding community. When there's literally a list that everyone can access there.
But I do think that that list could have been improved. As I kind of talked about on Tuesday, I definitely would like to have a more in-depth version of the list that has more information on it for all the content that we use that would be accessible by people. This thing, it was all kind of just clumped onto one page, right? And it was just, this is the mod, here's the link to the mod, with no extra information beyond that. Which was largely fine. But I do think more could have been... A little bit more can be done to that to make it more easier to sift through content and whatnot. Because sure, the list was there, and sure, Adelaide was at the top of that list, but was I... The times I did check the list, was I looking at the top? Not necessarily. And over time, you know, because we'd raced a load of tracks, I typically looked at what was in my current mods. And if it wasn't in my current mods, I'd look on, you know, I'd look on Race Department or, well, now Overtake and see what's new and what is potentially interesting, or what's something that I haven't used before that could be interesting. So over time, I more used my own collection as the sort of master list rather than the SRS page.
And is that the SRS page as what?
No, but you know, the point still stands that, like, there is so much content that it is kind of hard to sift through it. Like, you're not gonna remember everything. You're always gonna forget things here and there. And Adelaide never really crossed my mind. I always found other tracks that could fill a hole where an Adelaide might have fitted in. That's not anything wrong with Adelaide as per se, it's just...
But you did say that you were just checking your own list after a while, and not the SRS stuff, so like... That's not Adelaide's problem. That it never got looked at.
No, but I'm just saying, like, there is, you know... I'm saying the problem isn't Adelaide, it's not the SRS mod list, it's just the sheer amount of content that is available is overwhelming. There is too much. That it is inevitable you're gonna forget a lot of things. I mean, there's likely a lot more tracks on the SRS mod list, on Race Department, on maybe even in my own mod list, right? That get neglected and not really used. I feel like that's kind of inevitable. When you...
I mean, so far you're just stating obvious stuff, so I'm just
well,
waiting for you to get to the point.
But that is the point. Like, you kind of you said, oh, why not Adelaide? But the point is, there's so much content, I just missed it. But I would like to... I mean, we'll have to play around with what the best way to do this is, but I would like to have more community involvement in picking out and deciding content, and for, like, the community to give more feedback on things. Because, like, yeah, like, if we do a track and everyone thinks, oh, this track's shit, then we can just not use it. there's a million and one other tracks out there we can use, so we can skip them or ignore them.
So what, you're gonna go through the million and one tracks one by one?
No.
Asking for feedback?
No. But more of, I mean, with the new, so running with the idea that we go fully self-hosted, because obviously if we go with WSS, we'd be starting off with their own curated list of whatever. But we could still layer our own sort of layer on top, right? Which we were somewhat
If
doing.
they
with-
approve it.
Well, not even that. I just mean like having our own filter on top of what's already there, right? Like there was a lot of content in the SRS list that we just didn't use because we'd used it at some point before and we're like, well, this is kind of shit, so we're not going to use it. Like if I remember correctly, there was a Suzuka in there that was like really low quality, and so nobody used it. Beyond the couple of times it did appear in the past.
Yeah, like one of the problems that I had with that list is it was very rarely getting updated, and again, questionable choices that never get enhanced with SRS is that why some of the tracks that we used, we never used the updated versions of them. Even if you would ask Henrique, he would never reply to you, even if you were a serious host. So it was just down to what he would approve of and what he felt like doing on that day. I guess that was the vibe that it came off with some of the things that got to approved for SRS.
Yeah, and I think part of the problem there, right, is that over time he became less and less involved in the general running of the platform. Like he wasn't really involved in the community as much as per se. Especially in the more recent times, like he's been very busy, and so hasn't really had the time to do a lot. And when we have asked him for help with things, it's, you know, responses take a little while sometimes if he's not online. And that I think has been a long-ish standing problem. And, you know, obviously, like, personal life and whatnot should come first, but I do think that, like... Oh dear. Ow. I do think that, like, ideally you want someone who is more involved and engaged. And so I think with the way I want to go about doing things, at least with like the bits I will be spearheading, because ideally in the future I wouldn't want it all to be me. I'd want other people in to maybe do their own stuff. But because I'm still here, I'm still doing the races myself. You know, selfishly, the main reason I'm continuing this is because I still want to do the races, right? I'm doing all of this to see if other people want to still do it and come into, like, a middle ground agreement between everyone. But if I didn't want to keep racing, I wouldn't have done all of this. I wouldn't put out all these plans and whatnot. But that's the thing. I think with being more actively engaged, then I think, because obviously, like, again, we'd be with me running everything, we fall into the same problem of having a single point of failure. You know, SRS was bottlenecked because everything had to go through Enrique, and with my own stuff, it'll be everything will have to go through me. But if I'm more active and engaged with the community, then I don't think that should be as much of a problem. And I think if I was to get into a position where that would be the case, then maybe I wouldn't be able to be as part of it anymore. Then I would be, I would open it up to more people in the community to be able to help running things.
Bluntly put it, you would need to create your own team, right? Is that what you're trying to say here? You're saying that if it falls down to one person, we end up with the same problem. So in that regard, you would need to create your own team, people who will work for you and help you out with stuff.
Yes and no. So in the short term, definitely no. What I'm saying is, you need the person who to lead this needs to be someone who is more engaged with the community, right? As time went on, as I said, Enrique kind of became more and more disconnected with SRS and what was happening in it, and he didn't have the time, as much time anymore, to dedicate to SRS, which obviously was reflected in the platform because less got done in longer amounts of time. And that's, a lot of people are like, oh, why didn't he change and develop with the times? And it's like, well, he just didn't. He didn't he didn't have the time to give to it, to give it
You're
the updates.
You're forgetting that he was also a person who didn't want to accept help. Because I remember many times people were asking him to have, or like offering to have him in various tasks, and he just said no. Fair enough. Those people left one by one, and as you say, the service went downhill.
Yeah, I mean, that...
You offered, if I remember correctly, you offered to have SRS.
Yeah.
At one point you were saying like, oh, maybe I will co-help with us and with SRS. That didn't go anywhere either.
I'll be honest, my bigger plan there was actually to maybe even try slowly taking over the platform. I knew like he wasn't really as engaged with it anymore, and maybe if I could wrangle more into it, I could breathe a bit more life, which ironically that's kind of coming true, but
I'll be honest, that would have been
wishful
thinking, I think.
It would have been.
That would have been.
That was very wishful thinking, but
I doubt he would have passed it down to anyone.
no.
If he didn't accept help for years from those who were involved with his stuff for years, then I doubt he would have passed it down to you.
No, but that was kind of like the crazy pipe dream end goal, right? I knew it likely was never going to happen, but it was like, it's worth trying to open some doors. But to cut a little bit of slack into the, oh, why doesn't he just let people help him? As someone who works in, I do a vaguely similar thing for my day job, in terms of like building and maintaining like web applications and stuff like that, right? Somebody saying they can help, it's not as easy as just saying, right, okay, get to work, right? He would have to spend, like, there's like a front-loaded cost, right? Bringing someone in to help you helps you out in the long term, because you can offload your work to them, but you have to teach them everything first. You have to run them through everything. You have to get them understanding everything and how it works, right? Like, I've quizzed him on a few things in the past in terms of how the platform works, to kind of get a better idea as to what is and isn't possible. And it does sound like there's, the automation that makes the platform run by itself has a lot of rules baked into it that would take a lot of effort to change. And I think that's why he hasn't really changed it, and why he hasn't really brought anyone else in to help him change it. because he would have to teach them and explain to them how it all works and whatnot. I mean, there are some simpler things here and there people could have picked up on, but he still would have likely have had to have given them some direction to try and make sure things are done the right way. So yeah, I do think he could have benefited with a team of people to help him, but I think at the point where, at least at the point where I sort of asked, I think it was maybe a bit too late already by that point. Some of the early attempts, I can't really speak for those. I wasn't there. I wasn't privy to the communications and whatnot, but you know, it is, as much as it would be nice, it isn't as easy as just being, ah, yeah, I'm helping. There was another point I went through. Oh yeah, the team stuff, right. I did get asked by someone else about this as well. Because there's the kind of overarching idea, right, that I could go ahead and create my own, sort of steadily build up over time my own platform, right, to run these races off of, if we go the self-hosted route. I was asked a very good question about, I'd likely need a team for that, and that would be very expensive, would it not? And I'd say no. But it depends on like time frames, right? If people wanted this done quick, then yes, you would need a team, but it's hard to set a team up is the other problem, as we've kind of just been discussing. Because you gotta get everyone thinking in the same way and all agreeing on the same ideas, so you can then do those things. Once you've got it all set up, it's all hunky-dory. But I do think it would take a while, but I do think I could do it myself. Like building like a whole website and like platform to integrate everything into. And I think it would be an interesting challenge. How well that would work out in the end, I don't know. But it would be interesting to try, at least. But there's no point doing it if people aren't interested in it, so.
I mean, how we haven't even finished with the final season yet on SRS. Who knows how many people are actually gonna stick around after that?
I mean, I'd say given the responses, I'd say a reasonable number of people. Like, I'm not expecting, given that we got like, 20-odd responses, that we're gonna get 20-odd people every week. That's not gonna happen. But
we don't know. We also don't know how many of those 20 people are already racing on other services, and SRS was just a side option there. Part of the races maybe that they were doing weekly.
I'd say I do have a reasonable picture on that. Not concrete, but it's I have a picture, a vague picture on that. But from the way I interpret the results, I do think that at least the people who are still racing actively on SRS, I do get the impression that they still want somewhere to race that would keep the same. They want a place where they can race that will keep the kind of racing we've had alive, right?
So do you feel like it's more about the kind of racing that was already, or what? Let me rephrase that. So do you think it is the kind of racing that will happen in the final months or final year of SRS, or the company that it was leading that? or hosting those races?
I think it's the community, right? And everything that kind of attaches
So
to
you
that.
and Donnie and the other guy who were still hosting stuff, and they're regulars.
Yes and no. I think it could survive without me being there, but you would need somebody else to step up as like the ringleader, right? Because somebody has to kind of take charge of things, right? It's not just going to magically come together by people saying, "Oh, we'd like this." You know, if I hadn't stepped up, who would? I don't know. Somebody might have. Nobody might.
Do you think they would care?
Well, I mean, they filled out the form. Whether or not they care in the long run,
Yeah, but that was a
we'll
form
have
by
to
you.
find out.
Like, let's not forget, and SRS a few years ago was mainly about the series that were hosted there, and the other series which were known as the streamer races. So those series mainly were because the streamers were there hosting their races and they were hosting the platform.
Oh yeah.
There were series where it was a one-off contract and streamer to come there, host the series there, and maybe stick around for more series after that. And in some cases it backfired horrendously. Rickett being an example.
Oh
where
yeah.
he was there for one series. If you check the live streams, he enjoyed the races, but everyone who was in his voice chat were constantly talking about how terrible the platform was. There was one time when he came back after that series for one of the nighttime races, and someone in his voice chat were like, "Hey, this guy is an asshole. How do I report him?" And not knowing that the SRS TV car in the race is not an actual admin, he was starting to ask the SRS TV car, "Hey, how do I report this guy?" And again, going back to the self-policing stuff, a few years ago by this point, one of the earlier races that I did on SRS was with the Maniac Chang. And in that race, there were two guys duking it out and ended up crashing off on the circuit. I got a comment on that video saying, "Hey, if I were you, I would report that guy." And back then I was like, I only raced them once. If it would have happened a few more times, then by that point I know that guy is a troublemaker, so I'm just gonna report it by then. And it's like, no, check his results on SRS. I wouldn't race with that guy if I were you whatsoever. I would report him. And then after a while, I just left that comment there, and after a while I realized, by SRS logic, I couldn't report that guy because he didn't crash me out. By the SRS rules, you can only report it if you are the victim.
Oh yeah.
But later down the line, there were so few races on SRS, and by that point, it was just only the streamer races. So I guess rules just got so loose that you could report anyone if there was a footage of it on the stream that, like, "Oh yeah, this guy was a troublemaker. Here's the proof from our stream." So by that point, I feel like the rules, as you say, became more self-hosting and more favor of how the system reacts to the live streams and makes the live stream series look more better, I guess, in public eye. I don't know. I'm just guessing here because
Yeah, I
that's
mean-
pretty much what we could do with SRS.
But yeah, that's essentially kind of what it became, right? Especially as it came down to being just our hosted races. It did definitely swing into more of he was more serving us than, you know, him providing a wider platform. Because he even kind of admitted it himself when we sort of said, you know, it's time to... When we all agreed that it was time to kind of hang it up, was it like, you know, he probably would have ended it sooner were it not for us. And so in the end, he was just, you know, kind of... He would have, you know, I mean, as you saw, he did kind of, you know, he loosened up a lot. He bent a lot more to our whims. Because he just kind of wanted us to kind of keep going as we wanted. Rather than maintaining the kind of what the platform should be. But going back to the point about community, while I get the point, I do still believe it would be a lot harder, but I do think that you could, as I said, you would have to have somebody else step up who isn't one of the hosts. But I do think say like, if instead of me, right, say instead somebody like Hanu stepped up, say if he stepped up and said, I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna make my own series to kind of keep the group going, and I think there is a chance that people still would have bought into that. Now naturally, because I am the host and I have been, there is a lot more exposure on me, so I do think if somebody else had done it, it would have been a lot harder to get off the ground.
I mean,
without
personally,
any backing.
Nothing against Hanu or any of those who still stuck around in SRS, but outside of the few messages that I had within some of the guys in SRS, I know nothing of the other drivers outside of their names and the country flag next to it. Like, as a personality, I don't know if I would stuck around with racing those guys if I were still racing online on AC. With you, there's that weekly live streams, the Discord chats after those live streams, or occasionally you hit us up on Discord for hanging out in GTA. So we still hang out. We know each other on a basic level. We know how much we can push each other with jokes and whatnot. But if it were someone from SRS that I only know of as a name, and maybe I've messaged him once or twice on the SRS stuff for saying, oh, sorry for crashing you on the blue flag, like that's not the same level of connection.
Yeah,
SRS this tries something with the community-based hosting. Like, as an attempt, those who were like winners of the series are those who were the more
the top 5,
more active, more better the better performing drivers could host their own stuff. And yeah, I do recognize some of these names. I did hear them here and there in a voice chat, maybe. Not all of them. And some of them are already associated with other racing series, and they move way past SRS to other platforms. So like with drivers like Matteo, he's already associated with For Fun. He was already racing both on WSS and SRS for, by this point, probably a year or two.
Yeah.
And he also tried out the other platforms as well, because I've seen him post about it.
Oh yeah.
So, I don't know how it would work out, but I don't think it would work out as well as
oh yeah, no, definitely.
Like in your case now.
I do agree with that. Like I said, it would be much harder for somebody else to do it than someone like me, who, you know, has already been, like, you have to kind of make your face there. You have to make yourself the face of it, in a sense. And it, you know, I've been hosting various things online and in different capacities. throughout the past 2 years, and yeah, it is kind of a pain in the butt. Everybody wants to do something, but nobody wants to put the effort in to actually make it happen. Because like I don't.
We get the ADHD halfway through it.
It's like, I don't want to be the one to have to do everything, but I find a lot of the times that I am one of the, like, few people who actually has the drive and the initiative to do it. And I think if I didn't, then I wouldn't be anywhere as known in the circles now as I am. Like, because, I mean, like all those other people, I was just another racer, right? I was just another guy who joined in the races, talked in James's live stream. But, you know, things kind of lucked out in a bunch of ways, and, you know, I took the initiative, when James kind of gave it up to go on and be like, hey, you know, I can do this. Well, you know, I took up the initiative to just, you know, do the streams myself. And that kind of led one thing to another, and we're here.
Yeah, I remember having a voice chat with you a while ago, and sadly that conversation didn't go so far because my mic was acting up around that time. But it was a bit of a turning point for you, because that was around the time when originally I remember you didn't have much interest for this other than hosting the races, but you were doing the live streams on YouTube because you felt like you had to continue that, and after a while you were starting to wonder if you want to do more with YouTube or not. And then there was that period where you would do other stuff after these races ended. Have Friday streams like this, not with chatting maybe, but more often than not it was just something you would emulate on PS2 or something.
Yeah.
But as a content creator, you've been branching out. I feel like in the past few months, you know, how life took an effect for you. You scaled back from that, but now with SRS closing, you kind of need to find out a new chapter forward. So I don't know if taking over the races and making them your own thing now is gonna be that chapter, or if you want to branch out with this idea wider even, or if you want to just do what you were doing so far and slowly build up the YouTuber side again. With something else other than just weekly races.
YouTube's always been I've always had a bit of a funny relationship with YouTube, because I mean I've been doing this channel for over what? I think it's over 10 years at this point, 11 years. I think I started in 2014, right? I pumped out absolute garbage back in the day.
Whatever.
Attack of the Giant Lizards? What is this game?
Yeah, I've always my view on the channel and what I've done with it has changed a lot over time, as my kind of views, ideas, motivations and stuff have changed. I mean, I think when I started live streaming these races, I wasn't really doing much at all, really. I did the occasional video now and then, but when I did the live stream to cover James, that was like the first live stream I'd done in like 2 or 3 years, I think.
And it wasn't even on your channel.
No, it wasn't. But I think that kind of sowed the seeds that when James kind of went MIA, at the end of that touring car championship, the like Cupra TCR championship, I was kind of like, you know what? I was, you know, that was only like 6-7 months prior at that point. And I was like, that went relatively well. So let's, why not? Let's just give it a shot and see how it goes. And it kind of quickly snowballed from there.
Yeah, that touring championship we were streaming it back and forward, you and me, if I remember correctly. Because there were races where I streamed and there were races where you streamed, if I remember correctly.
I think I did. I don't know which one.
I remember you were very panicking about streaming at the same time, like it's the end of the world. No, I'm gonna drive away viewers.
The thing, yeah, like my stance on YouTube nowadays is it's a little weird because there's still kind of that one in me to do more diverse stuff. The problem is I've just never really found, because obviously, yeah, I started doing this sim racing stuff, and then that picked up a lot of steam, and that's kind of the channel now, right? It's doing this stuff, doing the sim racing and whatnot every week, and I wanted to do other stuff, but it's like my interests are kind of all over the place, and I've never really thought about or found the right place to fit stuff in. But it's also just having the motivation and effort to do things. Like, I am kind of lazy in some regards, and I do.
Kinda.
It's yeah,
Kind of.
I mean, I do a fair bit of stuff off stream, but it's not really stuff I talk about much. But fuck's sake. No, it's just like random shit that I just don't live stream or whatnot because it probably wouldn't be very interesting.
Hey, something needs to
Really
break the
bad.
tension in this chat.
I've lost my train of thought now. Fuck.
Leave it to me.
Do it
and,
more.
Look,
More vibe boom. More
I
vibe boom.
bring the Sumer energy to all the chats. I mean, that's perfect.
Shit.
Why are you guys laughing at it? I'm doing it for random. Guys are
What were
Let's
we
just
talking
hardwire the
about?
internet. We are sleeping agents.
Crazy. Yeah, what was
It doesn't have with YouTube that over the past years it really became the thing with channels that you need to be focusing on one or two specific things, and if you diverge from that, then the audience that you built up, or rather the algorithm that drives your channel just doesn't know what to do with it.
Yeah,
There are
that.
so many cases of channels focusing on certain type of content, and all of the sudden when they try to do something else, if it doesn't become a success among the core viewers, then that just affects them for months. Like, you could do the same type of content for months and it works perfectly fine. Once you diverge from that for once, that could affect everything else after that for months. I mean, sim racing, it's kind of odd. You see it with channels that are mostly about iRacing. Once there's a new update for one of the other simulators, they try it out, they praise it for no end to get into the search algorithms, and then after that they don't touch it. They go back to iRacing. They do the same thing.
Goddamn.
They do the same thing a few times here and there, and that's it.
Yeah. No, I definitely do agree with that, and that's kind of one of the sentiments that I kind of held right? Because while I don't really care about, like, you know, becoming a big successful YouTuber anymore or whatever, you know, there's no point in me putting effort in if nobody gives a shit. Ow.
Yeah.
Like, I could sit there screaming into the void all I want, but if people aren't going to interact and engage with the content, then there's literally zero point in me making it.
Okay,
Which is
today
when-
we're gonna be streaming
God.
SRS ranked
Which is when-
races for one viewer. Hello.
One viewer.
I'm the viewer. I'm the viewer.
We are the viewer.
No, you are one of the viewers. I am the viewer.
No, we are the viewer, comrade.
I don't have a.
It's our
I don't-
stream.
I don't have
it's
a
our
comrade.
stream right now, comrade.
I don't have a combat soundboard. You get this one.
后头是一个坚韧不拔的纪录片，在香港这座城市的设置。
Wrong language, but same red.
Can't say that. We lost the viewer.
Oh no! We lost the viewer. What will we do?
Congrats. You now Rico is in a fucking internet drama now.
I mean,
It's gonna get picked up by.
Maybe it's gonna suddenly end just like last time.
yeah.
Rico gonna have to post a 1 hour video apologizing. And it's gonna be
So-
full of
Oh, I need to get brushing up on my ukulele skills. Shit. I've never played a ukulele before, but I guess it's time to learn.
Is the Bad to the Bone riff copyrighted?
Not
maybe,
if we talk
but
over
I think if you just play that alone, it should be fine. Unless you spam it, then it would probably kill me.
That means I will be the only POV for this.
Wouldn't be my first or probably my last copyright strike. Well, hopefully. Wow. Hopefully.
Oh no, we remember the
Hopefully it's here.
time when Bandai Namco fucking bust down his door for posting videos of the Devil High Ace.
They did
You
not
can't
like,
do this.
They did not like the modded Maxi 2.
Namco doesn't like anything, to be fair.
Yeah, fuck F1, by the way.
Fuck Namco.
Like,
Bitch.
bit of a tangent here, but like I don't know if any of you watch VTubers. One of the ones that
No.
I was watching for the past year, Kirikira recently graduated, and one of the last live streams she did was a fan double of that 2023 Las Vegas race. Like she would dub over everything in the race, including the sound effects and whatnot. Like it was cringe, but it was funny cringe. But the stream got so short that they didn't even do the first corner of the formation up. Like they didn't even pass that, and then the stream was shut down by a Formula 1 media.
classic FOM.
Of course, foam. Fucking.
Yeah.
Who plays Insurgency here? Does anybody play Insurgency?
I
have
have
it.
Insurgency in my library.
Yeah, same. Feel like
I think I might
same
even have it installed.
I have the IED sound effect.
That's just classic Nokia. Like
That's just a Nokia.
Yeah,
No,
but it
you
plays
see,
when
it's a
the
Nokia
when the
attached to
when
an IED.
Bomberman is running towards you.
Once I sent this text message, the whole fucking building's gonna blow up.
Nah, he says it a lot faster than that.
yeah, but like going back to YouTube, like that. You say you don't really want to go into the whole YouTube stuff, but at least some servers that have advertising wouldn't hurt.
Oh yeah, no. Like with going forward, I do want to do more advertising on the channel for the series because it's gonna
Oh
be a
god,
lot
guys,
more.
Raytheon is gonna get on the channel.
It's gonna be more.
You don't
More
have to
important.
overthink it. some quick shorts will do the trick.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's
no,
it.
no, like quick videos being like, "Hey guys, we're doing this. Come join."
Oh wait, do you mean advertising? Like,
Hey guys, we're gonna race the safety car at Avis.
It'd be like advertising the new series, right? Like that'd be.
oh okay.
Uh,
I lost the plot. I thought you were saying, you know, hey guys, this is a Raid Shadow Legends.
no,
show.
no,
You should
no,
play
no,
this."
no.
As a fucking telemarketer channel.
Because that's one thing that, like, why I was asking earlier, if, like, which side you wanted to lean forward. Because if you want to series stuff with championships and whatnot, and someone then for his rules or setups, then you will need to somewhat back it up with interest, and not just those who show up, but potentially those who will show up. And if you plan to have your YouTube channel as the main source of the media for it, you will need to somewhat present it and keep up the appearance that you have interest for it. But if you just want more of what we're doing right now and just hang out, talk shit, whatnot, then I don't really see that much of a reason of going so serious with it. And I guess that's why
if you
some
wanna keep
people.
it the energy.
I guess that's why some people were saying, I mean, I don't want the championship, I just want maybe one-off races or just hanging out and whatnot in your
Just wanna
in
hang
your
out
form.
with this really cool guy.
Cool guys, because we're all cool guys.
Yeah, and I mean, this
I mean,
is
really,
something.
at least based on this Discord that we are right now here, once you dip, every one of us dip.
Yeah.
I haven't had a
Yeah.
conversation here that was just the three of us outside of you.
This is real. This really is the shed of all time.
I do. Yeah, I do. I've gotten that vibe in some places before, where it's like
We are the goons.
Okay, no, you can't say you can't. No.
You're the
Can't say
leader, we
that.
are just the goons hanging around with the top hats and Tommy guns.
I can't say what I'm gonna say. 'Cause he's gonna get fucked.
yeah.
You can't say that, dude. Not anymore. The meaning's changed. People younger than me have changed it.
I can still think of it as an old word. Nobody knows how to enforce it.
No.
Like even just that
Okay.
word that you're like, oh, don't say it. It changed stuff. I'm seeing clips around like VTubers where they really, they just want like Clipper channels have been going all over the place with that stuff. And even they don't know how to use the word.
think it's
You search
pretty
it up. You search it up in Google. There's like Urban Dictionary, and there's like 5 different meanings for that one word.
Language is a
not-
funny thing.
And
I hate
not even
language.
2 of them say the same thing. Just vaguely in the same direction. Just like I didn't.
God damn. I think English and language in general sucks, so we should go to sign language.
Yeah, but you can't see what I'm saying right now.
But yeah, I can. By saying something. I am.
We've just had the most insightful conversation ever, and nobody knew when anything's been said because we've all been talking in isolated sign language. Sorry, guys. You'll never know.
I am. Okay, LPF 346. Parentheses? No, sorry. That's a bracket.
How do you read that? I have my hands under the table. Three times in such a short period would be too much for even me.
No.
Jesus Christ.
Hello, guys. This is booming.
Is that what it's supposed to mean?
No, I don't know. Maybe change the shed name to Rico's.
No.
Rico's Goon Lair.
I got so distracted by that, I fucking ate a guardrail.
You will do that even without it, so don't blame us for it.
Truth
I've
no.
actually been doing pretty decently in this race, even though I haven't really been thinking about it much.
To be fair, this game seems very easy.
It seems very easy. Let's make it
Is
harder
this a
for you.
race?
Yeah,
Is this supposed to be a race? Oh yeah, it's Ubisoft, of course.
Road trip.
The problem
This
is that
This is
they
the
don't
standard for Ubisoft racing.
they don't run. I feel like they made the AI easier in these longer races, so that if you fucked up, you could catch up. But at the same time, they also run slightly weaker cars. Like my car is maxed out, but they're all 1490. But like, why can't they just be 1497 as well? Who knows?
Because that's the recommended level.
Even in the later games, it is all over the place. In Crew 2, they had the bikes and whatnot. And I remember one of the bike races, you can literally just skip the jumps by driving around them. And game will do nothing about it.
Big Ubisoft. 18 seconds.
I mean, I don't
But like
mind
the crew,
these races
the crew 2
being
in general, but
relatively-
it's all over the place. It's like
Oh yeah,
with everything.
that's why.
Actually, Rico, you know what you could host? Gran Turismo for online racing.
No.
That would involve me playing Gran Turismo 4.
Also, I don't know. Does
Yeah,
Gran
the Hate
Turismo
Runner is
4
coming out again.
allow more than a maximum of 6 players?
I mean, what else do you need?
I
Us
don't know.
four.
Sometimes we have 8 racers.
Yeah.
Well, boo-hoo, second split.
Fuck you!
Welcome back, SRS.
Don't tell me
died.
you've never experienced second split before.
I
know
have.
you have.
What the fuck?
So don't
I
give me
have.
that shit.
I have. I literally, I was saying I experienced the second split where the only other person was another cross card who kept spitting out on the first corner of
Oh,
Brian's
yeah,
head
yeah,
until I
the
lapped
two
him
person.
in a 10-minute race. Terrible.
You know
Yeah.
how underwhelming that shit is. Like,
It's like
I
a
think
time
the
trial
worst thing
thing.
is when you get demoted to the second split.
No, that never happened, thankfully.
No, I do remember one series where, because I mean, my first proper series was James's BTCC series, and I was in split 2 for the round 1, but from round 2 onwards in SRS, splits were based on championship order, and so I did relatively well in that first race. Well enough, at least, to secure me into split 1 for every week beyond that. I do remember, I think it was like one of the early series that Donnie did. It was it was using the holy trinity of like hypercars, the P1, the LaFerrari, and the Porsche
The
918.
Carrera GT. No, we don't talk about that one. The Carrera GT.
And I do remember it took me to like round 4, I think, to get into split 1 there.
Oh no.
You said Holy Trinity and then started to list 4 cars.
4 cars?
Did I hear that correctly?
No, I
Or
said 3.
you were just not sure which one it was?
I said P1, LaFerrari, 918.
Where did the car GT came from?
I think that was just Rahman being Rahman.
Oh, okay. So that's being
918,
something.
not a
That has
Carrera
meaning
GT.
now, huh? So I have meaning now in this community
Yep.
of
Could
Wounders.
be worse. We could me and Roman from GTA 4.
Oh, oh. D4's not all that bad.
could be worse.
Could be worse. Rico played GT3 on stream.
Okay, that's not.
That game didn't age well, didn't it?
Which game?
It did.
GTA 3.
Yeah, it did.
GTA 3? Yeah, not really.
Oh, GTA 3? No, dude. No. I
GTA
said
3. Man, I love.
I said GT3.
I like GTA 3, but yeah, it didn't.
I don't
I think
like
it
the
did.
start of GT3. It's like poverty hour. You're like trying to scrounge.
Well,
up
you get the Miata and you
the very
turbo it.
few doubloons.
No, you get the Miata and you turbo it, and it has 300 horsepower.
But yeah, I mean, if I was to do any Gran Turismo, it probably would be GT3 or GT Concept. I think I basically already...
Actually, there you go. Why don't you host GT online racing?
No.
Get the piss.
No.
That only allows 4 people. So we have even
How
less.
many people are here? Oh, I'm sorry. There's 5.
I also like that even less than GT4, so...
There's only one person here.
You only
that's
played
Rico.
GT4 for 2 hours, what do you mean?
Yeah, and I dislike GT PSP more, even though I've played it more.
You're getting caught up on.
I am, I keep crashing.
Yeah,
Also, they
true.
do rubber band.
It's still on the
but I guess
podium though.
They kind of forgot to do
You played
that.
like what, 3? You played like what, 3 Gran Turismos?
No.
It's still on the podium then.
No, he played Concept, PSP, 3, 4.
5.
He didn't like 5, I don't think.
I haven't played 5 in a very, very, very long time. I played it back on the PS3. It was like one of the first games I got for the PS3.
PS triple.
Oh no, he's gonna like it more than 5. He's gonna like it more than 4 because his nostalgia. Call it now.
I don't have that much nostalgia for it.
And you think that?
To be honest, he might hate it because the AI is easy.
Also, yeah, nostalgia, I don't know, nostalgia does help in games for me, but if I do go back to a game and it is genuinely booty, then, like, I'm not gonna like it.
You're gonna be
TXRD2,
like,
apparently.
wow, I like this.
Why I had no nostalgia for TXRD2.
Well,
No,
okay.
he never.
But, like...
I think with nostalgia, I never thought that it would affect me that much, but here I am playing what? Played it for like a week, maybe a month. GTA 4, GTA 5 again.
Oh god. Yeah, I've
I
seen
mean,
you
yeah, it
guys in
does-
GTA Online. What the
it
hell are you
does-
doing?
It does hit.
Honestly, I could have left it behind. I don't feel like I've gained much from it. The game is pretty much still in the same.
Honestly, the nostalgia I have from Gran Turismo 4 is, you know, when I'm playing through the game and I'm like, with my thoughts, I'm like, I wonder if I could time travel, right? I would go back to like my young self and I would like big brother him on how to play GT4 because
And
my nostalgia of
backseating your younger
GT4
self.
involves like taking the Cadillac Sian that my dad won, putting a stage 4 turbo on it, 1,000 horsepower on sports medium tires, and taking it to try to throw hands with the Chaparral 2J and then losing. And asking my dad, Dad, why I lose? I have 700 horsepower.
I feel like I've ruined games for myself when it comes to racing games with upgrade systems. At one point in time I was like, hey, can I play Forza Motorsport 2 without spending money on upgrades? Or anything really, and just going over with it because the game gives me or something like not even buying cars, just with the game it gives me. And I didn't realize that that's a challenge run kind of thing over on the internet.
Apparently
But I-
nowadays it is, yeah.
Yeah, nowadays it is, but it was way before, and ever since that, like I never finished Forza Motorsport 2, but I did restart Forza Motorsport 2 with that basic mindset because I know that I can get pretty far with it. And then I've just adopted that to pretty much every game. Like, Forza Horizon 5 has next to no progression whatsoever. I only ever upgraded cars when I needed it. But back in Forza Horizon 4, I would still just, get cars, upgrade to a specific class, and do whatever I feel like.
You know, I used to do that before, but nowadays I'm actually more spend happy in games. Like I will be like, I'm playing through GT3 right now, and I'm like, you know what? I feel like tuning this 1.8 liter Sylvia. Yes, I can use better cars, but I feel like making this work, and it works, and I feel happy. I get happy brain energy.
Yeah, but GT3,
Because I know how to do
GT3
it,
awards
how to
that, didn't it? Like, there are stuff that you can do with that car.
To be honest, you can do. I was telling them too. You can take the Miata you win from Clubman Cup, put a turbo on it, 300 horsepower, and then like just aura farm and driving skill your way into the amateur league, and it's really fast.
Yeah, like that game awards that. Thing with Forza Motorsport
GT4
too.
does as well. I think it's just GT4 has.
Yeah, like
The thing
GT3
with GT
onwards.
Yeah, the thing with GT4 that I think the problem is that people break the game for themselves because there's always been this strategy where even if it's old bronze, people are like, "Oh no, I gotta get the super license, bro. Start the game, bro, so I don't have to deal with them." And it's like, just do the B license, man. You get chill events.
How in GT2 there's also the super license, but you almost never have to use it, and I think the only thing it unlocks is the event synthesizer.
Something like that, yeah. But like people break the progression for themselves.
I think that's the thing you see a lot though in newer games. A lot of people get really head up on the meta, and this is something I don't really like because I feel like it's often a very unfun way to play games. Like, people like to hobble themselves by being like, oh, this is like the best way to make money or progression, so I'm just gonna do that and nothing else. They stick to like optimal.
It goes hand to hand with how much the devs and those who are in charge of updates want to stretch out those games, is what I feel. Because if it wouldn't be like a dragged out game, people wouldn't gravitate over that much, I feel. I remember
They
that.
still
I remember that when Correct Street came out on PS, and it was very grindy, without a doubt. And I'm not saying it was good, but it was somewhat enjoyable. I felt like there was a reason to hold on to your money and only spend it on stuff that you actually needed. And I kind of liked that after a few updates, there was that formed almost schedule that you yourself, the player, keeps track of. Nowadays, the economy is way better, but I feel like there's not much reason to go forward with the story anymore. Like, me, myself, I restarted the game a few months ago, like completely from zero. I went through the tutorial, I went through the first club, and after the first club was finished, I could do any of the races back to back from that first club and rack up as much money as I want. I can progress with the story, like quote-unquote story, go from club to club and finish them and whatnot, then unlock more races with different performance restrictions. But I don't really feel like I need to go through with the entirety of the game, because after a certain point, I've unlocked enough stuff.
Yeah.
I mean,
Like,
I think that's
I was gonna say
fine.
with my playthrough of GT3 right now. So I didn't start with the Miata. I didn't even start with like the PT Cruiser or anything. I started with the Beats U, the shitty bits, the Auto Edition, the one with like 88 horsepower.
Pink bits.
You put a turbo on it, and you change the oil, and you can win like Sunday Cup, Clubman Cup, and FF Challenge with like aura farming. And then you get the Miata, you use it for the FR and whatever. And you like doing this and being smart with the money, and then doing the B license when I'm out of events to do, and only the B license. It feels natural. I don't know how to say it. The same thing with GT4. Like, yeah, you can do the A license and you can go immediately into the RSC Rally Raid car mines, right? The cobalt mine. Sell that shit 50 times.
The cobalt mine.
Become IRS #1 enemy, but like, what's the fun in that? Wouldn't you rather, like, I don't know, import? Say you import 100k credits
God.
to like
It's so
enjoy the game and have a little bit of a variety, but I don't know, you buy like a base model March. Are you gonna lose?
That was an amazing respawn there from the game. Put him like 2 blocks behind everyone.
Yeah, I'm in sick now. What the fuck? As you carry
He's
on.
gonna lose. Can we get a interruption?
Can you
of the
shoot
story?
that, yo?
What the fuck? What the fuck?
I was gonna say, like with GT4, what's stopping you from, like, you know, with, I like to use those extra 100k to. Wow, you just gave up.
I have no route anymore. I don't know where to go.
I haven't been looking at his racing for most of the time.
Oh, there we go.
So half an hour for nothing.
I look at
Congrats.
back in, and then he fucking totaled his car.
Half an hour for fuck all.
mugged
Congratulations.
by-
Half an hour?
I can't. You can't make this shit up.
I mean, that's why I
He's
think they
back
make
at
these races slightly easier than the shorter ones, right? Or a lot easier than the
And you
short
still
ones.
lost.
because- I mean, I wasn't really paying attention, so I think I missed.
Yeah,
an
you're the
exit
reason.
somewhere.
So what you're saying is you're the reason they made it so easy.
Yeah. But I mean, it's to make it, I guess, sort of like, it doesn't really, you know, the last thing you want is for a player to feel like they've wasted like 3 hours of time.
It is very.
Yeah, I know,
punishing
right?
to
That
do
would
a
suck.
race for 30 minutes, and then at the last point you like choke, and then it's like bye bye.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, right?
see-
Who could possibly do that?
You see, another game would just simply give you pure rewards for finishing second, third.
Driving in my car.
But yeah, no, back on track. I don't know,
I think people break the progression for themselves, but then they
People do.
complain.
I feel like people
where a
nowadays-
game railroads you, people complain. If a game has no progression because people break it, people complain. If a game has no progression because it's badly made, people complain. Well, congratulations, now you have no games.
yeah,
Not
yeah.
enough people complain about the games being too long, though. I remember, like,
Okay,
One or
GT3 is
two-
doing.
1 or 2 generations ago, the basic standard was for, like, just say for a shooter or something, 8 hours of gameplay. And then if you enjoyed it, you restart. Maybe add some challenges in, optional stuff, whatever.
MW Modern Warfare 2 on veteran.
Or or add in new game plus.
No.
Nowadays, you see like all of the challenge runs for all the racing games, but there's nothing of that for newer games these days, isn't it? Like, I enjoyed Need for Speed Heat playing it for the first time, and one of the things that I've noticed with some of the Need for Speeds that I really enjoy is starting the game with one car and finishing it like from start to finish with that one car, and over the time you actually end up building connection to that car. The way you tune it, you remember how it started out, how it evolved over the time. And with Heat, you can do that. You can have that one car from the start, the M3 that I choose at the start of the game. I was able to pretty much do almost all of the races outside of the few where they gave you the car to go around with it. And I was able to take part. I was taking part in street races. I was taking part in off-road races. I had to tune the car for those races to work better. So it worked pretty well with the whole system of doing normal races during daytime, and during the night time maybe you change up the car from one to another So you strategized again for how you wanted to leave the
I did
garage
that in
for
the
the night.
Mustang because I like the Mustang. And the Mustang is poopy, but it's the Mustang.
It's cool.
And then
Well, yeah,
came
but it's-
Unbound, and yeah,
You can't do that anymore. Well, to be honest, Unbound is just mid.
I mean, I think you still kind of can.
the strategizing is there, but like it just felt way too long. I didn't replay Hit. Like, if you would want to replay any of the newer Need for Speeds, you need to delete your save file. They don't even give you the option to
I
restart
mean,
the game.
that's something that, yeah, that does suck. But like, yeah, I don't know. Like,
I beat an Unbound and restarted it, and I hated the dialogue so much that I muted it. Then I realized that, okay, there's no flavor text next to the hint now, so like... The one thing that I somewhat enjoyed from the dialogue is that when you crash into someone during a races and there is certain voice lines coming out from them, that somewhat was fun at sometimes, other times not really. But if you mute the dialogue, only the police radio works. So now what? I'm just crashing into, or like racing the same 8 cars over and over. There's no variety. Like you go back to, again, don't want to be like the nostalgic or whatever, but you go back to 2005 with Most Wanted, and they have randomized grids for every race. You restart the
The
races or
races in Most
whatever.
Wanted get
And-
unreasonably long.
Yeah, I mean like, what, 10 minutes of a race in the later stages,
I mean,
or maybe 15 minutes. But you don't have to finish all of the races to progress. Yes, you will have to do more as time goes on to like reach the requirements, but it's down to how you want to finish it. Again, the optional stuff. At the start, I remember you will have to do like maybe 2 races or something and leave the third one alone or leave the fourth one alone. And later down the line, yeah, the races are repeating themselves and they are longer without a doubt, but still, at least the illusion of actually being in a underground racing scene felt more fitting when you wouldn't really see the same cars twice on the grid for every single race. You go to Unbound and it's literally the same 8 to 10 characters
I don't know.
driving the
actually.
exact same cars.
I kind of disagree with that because, right, for one, if it was like an underground racing scene, right, it's kind of all hush hush, right? People won't really know about it. So you are, in a way, you are more likely to end up running into the same people over and over again.
But have you
Ah.
seen the
Stop lying.
cutscenes? How many people were in the crowds? You're telling me that scene contracts so many viewers and whatnot, and it's like they are openly broadcasting that stuff online. Like there are cutscenes where they're literally broadcasting the
Yeah,
beef
yeah.
between the 2 characters online. Like you're telling me that wouldn't count. Like we all know how fucked up the
No, because the streamer
The
is Rico
takeovers are in
himself,
real life.
He gets 7 viewers. So sorry.
One of them is himself.
like
Six
these days.
viewers.
Fucking ass.
Like these days, people are openly like posting illegal like street racing and street takeover is online. Like there's, I doubt that
Honestly, I think the most
They should
fun I've
know.
had in a Need for Speed game was like ranking the Need for Speed games by how much I enjoy replaying them and like grinding through them with my knowledge of the game is number 1 Pro Street, funnily enough. Number 2, I would have to say it's either Underground 2 or Carbon, because Carbon is too short. Number 3, Hot Pursuit 2010, because you just have the same events, right? Like there's not a lot of that you can do, but it's just so fun to play. And number 4, you're gonna kill me for this, but the Undercover PS2 port. I love that game to death. I know it sucks, but it's like
the first Need
the
for
sh-
Speed that I played on 360 was Undercover, so
Oh my, I'm so sorry, man.
I didn't hate it that much.
The only version of Undercover I played is the Windows Phone port.
Probably better than the PC port. Let's
I don't have
pretend.
it on PC. I tried it. It worked alright.
But like
I don't-
Undercover PS2 is like so funny because like you get to stream it, and it's so badly put together and so ridiculous that even if you've played it 10 times, you show it to someone new and you're gonna laugh anyway.
So it's so bad it's good.
Like I'm gonna give you an example. You know you said you played the Undercover port, so you know the highway battle
Yeah.
mode. Yeah. So in the PS2 port, it's the same. The thing is, when you're like about to win, like I don't remember the exact distance. I think it's like 200 meters, 250, whatever.
I think
When
it
you're
was
like,
300.
you sure? Yeah, maybe. When you're like 275, DI gets this like unable to be hidden fucking farce of a boost. It's not a rubber band. It's like the Angry Bird slingshot. And it's so obvious because you see them coming at like Mach 1000 and they pass you. And then they slow down. And you pass them again and it happens again. Like you do the Highway Battle Gold challenge series in the Koenigsegg. You can I had a stream with my best friend on Discord where that shit went for 25 minutes because I could not outrun.
At least on the 360 version there was a timer.
Yeah, they added it because they were like, "Oh, dude, wait, this sucks. This shit is ass. Hang on, we need to fix it." But so you in the PS2 you can't even like block them with traffic. Like I tried making a roadblock. I tried getting him stuck in a truck. You know how you can pass under a truck in those old games. I got him stuck under one. I leave the crime scene. 290 meters. I think I'm gonna do it. No, there he goes. There he comes. And it's back to square one. Like shit like that. And it also happens in Outrun. Like for example, in the Outrun mode in career, when you say the AI takes a bad turn, because it happens, very common. And you're like you start gaining on them super quick because the game is like, oh well they fucked up. No, that dude, in the time span that it took you to get to 290 meters, that guy turned around, cleared the intersection, cleared the 10 traffic cars, and is back on your ass at like 500 km/h. You cannot outrun him, or he will, I don't know, maybe he teleports. I don't know.
Yeah.
You see his arrow move so fast on the minimap that it's so funny.
The Highway Battle was alright as an idea, but like the outrunning game mode was so.
The
Why?
outrunning was
Why?
cheap. Even back in
It's
Underground
literally
2.
just tag, you're it.
Yeah,
with the-
and
with the
with
timer
all the
clock.
cheating that kids do in tag. So terrible. What else in the Undercover? Oh, the PS2 port cops are like super easy to the point where like you can probably get like maximum heat level, 10 million bounty, and then have a coffee and get high, and get like do drugs and then still outrun the police. Because the bus timer is so slow, and you can drive on 4 spike tires. Like perfectly fine, but not perfectly fine. But you can like do something.
I kind of miss the times when spike strips were actually
And yeah,
a threat against
yeah.
the drivers. Like, I don't know what is it like. The
I feel like-
2013 Rivers maybe, since when the reinflating tires were a thing. No, 2012. That was
2012
yeah.
Need for Speed. I think a good point, well, a good balance is the way Carbon did it, where if you get a spike, yeah, well, that sucks. If you get a spike on your drive wheels, good fucking luck. And if you're like in an all-wheel drive car, like you can kind of do it. Like you pretty much fucked anyway, but you can kind of do something. The way Most Wanted did it is like, in your Fiat Punto, you get your rear left spiked. Ah, well, that's it. It's like a 5,000-pound lead on your trunk. You can't move. Like, that makes no sense. But whatever.
I love Carbon. I like that.
It's just too short, and the
Yeah.
mods suck. I'm not. Well, they don't suck, but like, for the amount of effort that stuff like Carbon Battle Royale boasts, I didn't like the mod. It's too much. It just changes the game. Wow, that's bullshit. It just changes the game to the point where it's like, well, this isn't really Carbon anymore. It's like, well,
I like the
fucking little
idea, and I
immense idea of
do feel
Carbon.
like that the game would have benefited from being a bit longer. But I don't like that they decided to change how the story goes, for example, at the start. Because I like the tie-in for the original.
nah.
Like, oh, yep, it's been 1 month. We are completely cutting off Most Wanted from this. What, you're driving the same car? Oh, coincidence.
I mean, with a mod, I think it's fine that they take like an alternate experience. It's, well, they are changing the game.
Yeah, well, I don't have to.
But
Well, I
if they're
tried it out.
acting, if they're acting like as if they're like, oh, this is like the way the game should be, then well, maybe no. But if it's like, oh, hey, here's a fun twist on a game you've played hundreds of times, then I think it's alright.
I think it's
If
not
they're
even
not-
a fun twist though with Battle Royale because the last time I played it, it was unbalanced to shit,
No.
and the end game was basically impossible. Like I beaten Carbon hundreds of times. I know how the game works. I couldn't do it. Too hard. Every race is like fucking. You need to just sweat your balls off. It's like okay, well, goodbye. And then you have games like Pro Street Pepega. I can't even. I hate that name so much.
Typical.
Where like
There's so much effort in it, but I don't vibe with it.
it's like yeah, the content is amazing, and then they just like we want Pro Street Pepega without the Pepega part. We just want the content, but no, they gotta throw a hissy fit because it's their vision. Like, well. I mean, that whole drama was just sad, to be honest.
Can I get
And
the TLDR? Because that's part of
Basically, you know Dustin Eden, the YouTuber.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was like I think one of the leaders of the mod, and like Pepega adds a lot of content, fixes a lot of content, but then it also adds its own story and like its own mechanics and that are just completely new to Pro Street. Some people like them, but Jesus, you just ran an old lady over.
Yep.
Some people like them. I personally am in the crowd, which is a pretty substantial crowd of people that are like, this is cool and all, but like I just wanted Pro Street with the fixes and the new content. I don't really care.
Yeah,
Can you make the mod without
from what
this
I
extra
know and
stuff?
what I've seen, yeah, it's if I could compare it into like not a mod but a game, from what I've seen, it's somewhat similar to how Trailout has it, where it's like you can tell it's a serious effort, but you can also not take it seriously. Like even if you would try, you can't take that game seriously.
Like I just want the AI fixes. I just want the car fixes and the new
Yeah.
cars and whatever and the new tracks, without the story and the new characters and stuff that turns me off the mod because I feel like it doesn't belong in the game. Like the removal of the speed limiter, for example. I feel like it breaks the game completely, and this slipstreaming is too strong, and I can go on and on. So basically, people ask for that. Like they're like, "Hey, can we have this content without all this extra stuff?" And the guy just throws a fit on a YouTube video or a live stream. I don't remember. Like he just goes off, completely cringe. and the team disbanded, I think.
Mm.
And it's like, brother, you're so sad. I'm sorry. You're just sad. I used to enjoy him too. Like I can't watch him anymore. Because I mean, my image of him has just been soured.
Yeah, like they would have. Obviously, we don't know how difficult was it to throw that together. But if it's a
Yeah,
free
of course.
project for, like, if it's how people used to say, how the saying is, from friends to friends. If it's a free stuff from fans of the game to the fans of the game, and it was so difficult to put it together, and you don't want him to make an additional version of it, just toss it over.
Yeah.
Let others tweak it.
Yeah,
And
like, you know.
from what I'm guessing now is that the best case scenario is someone else will pick up that mod and make an unofficial version of it later
God.
down the line. But they will do what you guys were asking. But it will be like years down the line. And potentially might create a drama because they
They
didn't,
didn't want it
that.
to happen, yeah. I haven't kept up with the drama. I don't know if it happened or not. I don't really care. I just play Pro Street Vanilla nowadays.
Like
Sorry,
to
yeah, I just nailed that guy. That traffic
Yeah,
car
besides.
hit another traffic car and went flying.
Whoop!
like to a very small scale, this is happening all the time with Assetto Corsa mod. A mod comes out, people like parts of it, they don't agree with it, other parts of it. But guess what? The mod maker is like, nope, not gonna change that. And then there's gonna be an altered version of it down the line. Because either the mod never gets finished or someone else just felt like making a different version of it. Maybe not even intended it to be public, but someone leaked it. And then down the line there's like 3 other versions of it over the time.
Guys, I swear, this Midnight Club Supra is gonna be realistic. I swear to God.
There's
By the
one
way,
carrier
Fedloid
mode.
and Playpad.
There's one carrier mode for Assetto Corsa that requires hundreds of cars, hundreds of checks. I'm just making up the number here, but from what I've seen, I'm not far off. And because the mod got shared around, the creator was like, you know what? I appreciate all of you, but I'm gonna put a DRM in. And guess what? Now it's getting shared around with cracked DRM.
You got shot.
Yeah, sorry, backtrack a little bit. You were talking about like the cops and
Undercover.
undercover PS2, and it reminded me of a funny story of when I was playing through TDU. TDU, if you don't know, is a really dumb police system, and I didn't
Yeah.
know this at the time. So basically, if
I know where
your
this is going.
if your wanted level gets above a certain level, no matter what you do, you literally cannot lose the cops. You just can't. And so what I did, I didn't know this at the time, so I went, and the cops can't follow you off the road because they're very stupid. So I literally drove as far off the road as I could at one point in the map, parked my car in a bush, went and had lunch, came back, and I was still in the police chase.
I had a similar in TDU 2, where this is a really old memory. Like, this is like close to release day. So I was a kid. I did the same as you, but I didn't go to have lunch because I actually wanted to lose the cops. It was like 8 p.m. Who has lunch at 8 p.m.?
Me.
Wow. Okay. You.
I do
Congratulations.
have a messed up flipping pattern that I can't control. So
So
yeah.
I was like in this. I was in this 370 set, and I get the maximum water limit. I get the helicopter. I get all the shit. And I'm like, oh god, I'm gonna do the good old that I used to do in the first TDU on the PS2. Which, by the way, my copy was cursed because I kept getting data corruption. So, like, 50% through the game, anytime I opened the game, it would be a 50-50 shot of me losing everything. And,
Shout out to that one guy who was uploading all of his progressions to Need for Speed Carbon after every single race because my copy was constantly crashing after every boss fight.
Real.
So I had to download those saves after
Real.
every boss fight.
So yeah, in TDU2, I get the max wanted level. I get all the entire Hawaii 50 is after me. And in my little 370C, I'm like, well, I'm gonna do the good old reliable. I just went off road, like max speed, just into the bushes, into the forest. Nobody will ever find me. I will become a golem.
I'm a hermit.
Now, 1 minute after doing that, like I'm still holding full throttle. I'm doing 180 km/h down bushes, and I get arrested. I get teleported to the road, and I just get arrested. And I'm like, huh?
Amazing.
So, I believe the way it works into because it happened to me 3 more times. So I believe I don't know if they ever patched it, but the way it might work is that the game remembers your last position when you go off road because you know TDU2 actually has dirt trails instead of it just being lush greenery that you can just tear around. So when you go fully off-road, I think the game just remembers your last position, and if the cops get there, it's like you're there, but you're not there. But the cops
Yeah.
can't follow you off-road. So the game is like, well, fuck you. Here's a $50,000 fine. and the police lady is like holding it up to me like, there you go. Congratulations, buddy. And I'm like, huh? Well, but that's all my money. And it was. Because I just bought that 370Z.
I don't have that kind of money.
I should do that. I should like get a max fine in CD and see if we can go negative. That would be really funny.
That reminded me when
What
I
hap-
first played Hard Truck 2. Literally, the first thing I did, I realized I could instantly pick up and discard my cargo. And I could just keep spamming that, and I'd lose money because I'd be penalized for dropping and breaking the cargo. And so I ended. Literally, like, the first thing I did in the game was rack up a debt so big the game just, like, insta-failed me for going bankrupt.
Amazing.
Okay, going back a little bit to when we're talking about challenge runs,
Yeah.
I think that I would definitely be interested in doing.
Also, wow, we won the race.
Yeah,
Congrats.
we won. Yeah.
Wow, we won the
First
race!
try, guys.
Yeah!
You're so
We
good,
did it.
Rico. First try. Amazing.
First
How
try,
did
first
all 4 of us get into that part?
try. I mean, it's.
I mean, good thing it's the newer Abarth and it's not real life because one time I sat in an old
There's
Did I
2
say
seats
Trabant?
back there.
Abarth.
Yeah.
One of my classmates.
Your legs might be scrunched up, but
One of my classmates' first ever car was one of those old Abarths. And how should I put it? When I sit into it, the whole car tilted to that side.
Good old 60s suspension.
No, it's just me being fat.
it's not 60 suspension, it's the car just being very light.
I mean, also, like, old suspension just isn't as good. It's more like modern cars are a lot more stable.
Okay, not a modern car, but would you be willing to bet that if Adam sat in your cappuccino?
You won't need to balance your wheels on that side.
It's fine. It was fine with. It's fine with me and my brother in there, and we're not the lightest specimens, so.
Why is
Also, I
this
just
sign
like-
in Comic Sans?
Yeah, I just waited to point out. Yeah, I just like to point out the sign is in Comic Sans with the Santa Monica Pier.
It's partially in Comic Sans as well. It's not fully, so what the hell is going on here?
But yeah, no,
Show your
I
Fiat
would,
of the pier, please. Thank you.
I would like to. I would be interested in doing a challenge run in some kind of game. I mean, I kind of did the other month when I did the Hard Truck 2, but I didn't save. Tried to see how long I could go before I died, and well, the stream did end with me dying. Through complete horseshit, but dying nonetheless.
No, if I die, this stream ends. 10 seconds.
No, it lasted like 2.5 hours, but like I thought at that point I was like I thought I was gonna make it to like the end of the game. I mean, I wouldn't have done that all in one stream because that takes a while, but I was making good progress. And then I hit a bad bump, the van gets launched into the air, and I fall into a lake. Game over.
I feel the problem with challenge runs is that it's, again, when it comes to like YouTube and whatnot, you run the risk of I don't know how to put a hint,
What,
attracting
being
the wrong
unoriginal?
kind of audience, the one that might think you are all about that certain game or maybe about that certain.
I mean, they can look
type
at his
of
channel
content.
and they will see that it's on.
Yeah, how many of them do?
But yeah, that was one thing I was gonna get to, right? Is that there's two kind of things, two kind of stipulations with a challenge run. That oh, that was weird. One obviously is that I feel like it would have to be a game I know, right? I feel like doing a challenge run in a game I don't know is like completely redundant, right? I'd rather, you know, have a proper first-time experience of a game than be like, oh, let's go straight into a silly challenge run. Because also, like, I have nothing really interesting to add. Like, I feel like the thing that makes challenge runs interesting is like, oh, hey, you know this thing, but let's put like a funny spin on it that challenges your knowledge of what's going on. But also,
You
the
would
other
also
point.
need to know that game as well. Like, I feel. Like if
yes
it's just
and
one single
no.
stream about that game and it was never featured on your channel, and the first thing they say is a challenge, I'm like, okay, what is
run.
this game about? Like,
Challenge run. Can I play Sega Rally 2006 without the translator?
What we did.
Horde.
But yeah, yes and no on that front. I think having the audience know does help. But I also think if the audience doesn't know, it's not the end of the world, right? Because if you know, this is another good point as to why I think knowing the game is important. Because if you know the game, you can teach people things, right? Like, if you know a lot about the game, you could show off, like, little tricks and stuff that you know, that other people might go, oh, that's cool.
yeah, like with speedrunner, they do practice streams. That's what I'm mostly on about here. Like if you were to do challenge runs, I think practice stream, or not just like. I guess what I'm saying is don't do it as a one and done. If you were to go and do challenge runs, like I tried once, it didn't work, fuck it, I'm moving on to something else. Because then it can feel a bit nonchalant.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing as well, is the second stipulation would be, like, you know, would people care? Because again, it goes back to the thing I said earlier, like, if nobody cares, there's not a lot of point in me putting the effort to do it. I mean, I could go and do it myself, right? I've done some challenge runs here and there fully independently. You know, no live stream, no video or nothing. It's like, oh, I just want to play this game in a certain way. So I'm going to go and do that.
Actually, Rico, you like Saints Row 3, don't you?
Yes.
Have you played that?
I could, but then would other people care? I don't know.
Oh,
Hey,
come on. I feel like the bigger problem with that would be the BDSM mission.
Oh.
Real. Well, just blur the screen. Well,
Blur the whole screen.
Can I beat Saints Row 3 with a content filter on? Just
Can I
blur
beat
out
Saints
the
Row
screen
3
for the whole game.
Can I beat Saints Row 3 and not the other way around?
wow. Can you beat Saints Row 3 if you are one hand short? Also, Rico, I have the game, so like we could co-op maybe. think that would be
I have
really
it too, but you two can have fun. I have mods on it.
fun. Oh, what mods?
Oh,
Just the mod
Jesus. Oh.
Saints Row 3. Wow, you became a fucking, what, the
Row.
land speeder? What was that?
Yeah, I thought I'd become car Jesus, but it was short-lived. I'm disappointed.
Did you know the Fiat 500 in cars is the Pope?
Oh yes, yeah.
Yeah, you're the Pope.
Crazy.
Or like the poop because of how you...
The poop.
Wow. Cue the XQC clapping.
Huh? I need to reach for the
Wow.
binder, but I'm too lazy.
But I does not want to drive on these tracks.
Yeah.
I'm beached.
Car's real big, rims real big, everything real big.
Ironic that he's driving the smallest car.
Police watch.
Time to go and buy the police monster truck version of this car.
I hope they do.
But yeah, no, I think it would be funny, and but like, yeah, as I said, it
You should revisit Attack of the Giant Lizard.
no.
That
Wow.
said, we are chatting about this, but I don't know what's the current state of YouTube these days. Because,
Brainbot.
yeah, that's
Man.
one part of it, but like especially just a few days ago, YouTube has rolled out a bunch of stuff, a bunch of changes.
Jesus.
And it's all favor of AI stuff. So like,
I mean, who
but that's
cares?
gonna happen. That's gonna happen everywhere. I think.
that's the thing. Like, as you said, who cares? But at the same time, people were saying who cares about the traditional content as well.
I mean, I
And,
don't
like,
think
AI
Rico
stuff
cares
is
too
not
much
gonna
about
have-
growing the channel. Like, if he gets like 50 good viewers that always chat and hang out like us, I think he would rather that. To be honest.
I mean, yeah, my goal, at least in more recent times, more recent times being after I lost YouTube monetization for the brief time I had it. Kid me thought he was big when he got 500 channel views and could turn on monetization.
You fucking idiot.
Yeah, like don't get me wrong, I would also prefer having that 50.
You know, I technically have
50
channel monetization because my initial D-Unity specialist time attack in the R32 got like 4,500.
Oh, well, nowadays the restrictions are a lot harder to get monetization.
Yeah.
Back then it was literally just 500 total channel views, which is like piss easy to get. But now you need like all these. You need like 1,000 subs, a certain amount of views, I think, and a certain amount of like watch time over like a past amount of months.
Yeah, I
too
got-
much stuff.
Yeah, like don't get me wrong, even outside of the monetization, because I was never showing interesting about that, I would still prefer having people who show up constantly for whatever I do. But at the same time, what I'm saying is that with YouTube clearly shifting interest towards just, the average user of like, oh, I don't care what I'm saying, as long as I like it, and I don't care if who made it, with what ticket or whatever. That just makes it less likely for you to attract someone.
Alright, fuck it, we're building our own YouTube.
Good luck.
Oh boy, another one.
Because AI Sloppy is doing exactly, well, not exactly, but very close to doing the same stuff as reaction content.
Oh yeah.
Except nowadays, the bare minimum that at least the reactor is doing is put the link to the original video in the description. Not the big guys, mind you, the small guys, but at least
Well,
they
dude.
do it.
Your dream is not to be XQC?
No.
Well, okay.
I don't think any normal human has that dream.
I want to be like. What do you want to be when you grow up? I think I could stream on YouTube. It's just I feel like my way of commentating is sucky. It's like it's one thing to be fucking around with you guys. I feel like I'm a lot better of a entertainment person when I'm not the leading force, when I'm like supporting somebody. I just put a bind move and I say something funny and then take my paycheck. Baller, boom. But when I have to like explain what I'm doing, I like getting into it. But I don't think I'm the best person to commentate something.
The one thing that I've noticed on myself in the past years or so is that the one problem I didn't realize I was having
we're going to. Oh no.
with YouTube is that I don't know if that is something that you need to get diagnosed with, but I feel like that I've been having what is it said? What is it called? What kind of syndrome is that?
ADHD?
Imposter syndrome.
Oh yeah.
I noticed that I would constantly check on stuff that I feel like, is it good enough to post? Is it good enough to even keep up on my channel? There were times when I would reach about like 700, 800, 900, almost 1,000 videos, and then a few months later I would unlist or attempt to remake some of those and just like drastically lower it down to like 700 videos because I felt like those were better ones than the other few hundred videos that I've unlisted or removed didn't worth it to keep it up. I had similar problems with streaming as well, where I felt like, okay, I enjoy it, but I don't think it's worth to do it because I just don't feel like I'm providing good enough viewing experience. I don't think. For a while, I also had the problem of, like I said, similarly, I'm not the main character, which is a problem when you're posting stuff to something that's your channel.
Yeah. Like if I have to do a playthrough of Gran Turismo 3 or 4, like I can explain what I'm doing, but can I make it interesting? I feel like I get too technical. I get a little too
I mean, some people do
Well,
like
I-
very technical stuff. Like if you.
Yeah, but if it's presented in like a clean, neat way. I'm more the kind of person that nerds to you for half an hour, but the way he nerds is like full of yeah, you do this and
I mean, isn't
you
that
do
the
this
same
Just
as
cut
what
it
I
out.
do?
Just cut it out. Just cut out the and that's it.
Just an unfiltered.
Well, now I
file.
was saying a stream, right?
Yeah, like maybe the streaming doesn't work, but you can edit it down to shorter content.
Oh no,
Short of videos,
I'm doing short.
Not
Okay,
YouTube shorts,
mm.
but like video content. Like
But
that's
doing-
what
getting to
that's
do
one
more.
thing that I felt like that was working somewhat fine for what originally started out as a side channel, but now it's my main channel, the English channel.
Real.
I think when I built up too many projects over the years, and right now I'm feeling the problem of I need to finish up at least one of them so I can snowball it down and finish up the rest.
Yeah.
It's been
I
4
mean,
months
you're
since
right.
I mentioned that. It's been 4 months since I mentioned it on my channel that I'm taking a hiatus. And it's been 4 months and I still haven't finished a single one of them. Yeah, the list keeps growing. And I don't feel like I'm going in the right direction with them, but there's not much. There's not many people who I think can even talk with really about it. YouTube has been a hobby that had like slowly became one of the main things that I've been doing in my life. Like nothing else happens around it. So sad.
Ick.
I don't. I do feel. I do feel like it is somewhat natural. Kind of going back to like your imposter syndrome thing. I think it is kind of natural. I feel like for people to have some kind of have that when you first start getting like a degree of like recognition for what you're doing, right? Like you, unless you're like an absolute egomaniac, right? You don't want to be like, you know, most people don't want to be heralded as like some grand savior of everything. You know, they don't want to be known as like,
The second coming of John Assetto Corsa.
yeah, the knight in shining armor who saved everything. You know, you just you know, a person who wanted to do something. And I do feel like there is kind of a problem, partially, with internet culture, is that it's very tribalistic, in a way. And if you... I've seen it a lot where, like, creators, you know, end up kind of unintentionally becoming heads of these tribes, in quotation marks, you know, that they didn't really ask for. And that kind of, you know, and they themselves, you know, kind of feel imposter syndrome and stuff, and you know, and they're significantly bigger than like you or I will ever be, sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean it's also very easy to break someone down to just one basic thing that they are known for doing,
Yeah.
and just shove them into the hint stereotype. I mean that's been a thing with actors and singers and whatnot with typecasting as well. So like, I'm not surprised that it's still going around even in other spaces like YouTube or just the
Yeah,
internet
it's too
in general.
easy to pigeonhole people. It's like, oh, I know this guy for that, so that's all I'm gonna expect from them. But, yeah.
Yeah, and where does that lead with YouTube? Like people are making multiple different channels just so they can feel like they okay, I know this stuff wouldn't work on the main channel, so I'm making another channel for this type of stuff. Like it got to the point where you have clashing ideas and one person has 5 channels, one for the main content, one for the longer talking stuff, one for just sharing words, because guess what, Twitch is a fucked up place and you need a YouTube channel for that, and one for clips, and 5th is whatever, if it it's stuff that doesn't work on the other channels.
Yeah.
And then you have the complete opposite of have one guy just or one girl just posting everything on one channel.
Yeah, I thought a couple of times about maybe making another channel to do like other things, but then I don't know. Because like there are some stuff I'd maybe be interested in making some content on, but it's like has like nothing. Because like while I have tried to deviate away from some being like purely sim racing, generally I've kind of stuck the content I've been posting here in some kind of racing game realm, right? Like it's other racing / driving games, that I've been playing, because I feel like that kind of is, you know, it's tangentially related enough, that like it would make sense and people might be interested in it. But I'm interested in like all sorts of games that go, you know, all over the place, right? But are the people who watch here gonna be interested and want to watch that? And probably not. I don't know. I mean, I guess there's no harm in trying, but I also just haven't really had the motivation to put stuff together. Mainly because I have been
If
worried
you're
that...
constantly asking if are they gonna watch it, and then that's gonna just lead you to never actually going with it, because
Yeah,
you end up with
I
the
mean,
same answer. It's kind of like talking to an LLM again, and they, after a long time, they're just repeating the same answers.
yeah, you're reinforcing that answer with it, yeah. It's definitely true, but that's the thing, you've kind of got to kick yourself out of it, right? Nobody else is really gonna do that for you. You kind of have to stand up and be like, all right, I'm doing it. I mean, kind of like with this, right? With the... Oh, going back to, you know, the new weekly racing stuff, right? I was kind of umming and ahhing about it because I was never really sure if it was going to work, right? And then when SRS, you know, deciding that was it for SRS, kind of gave me the kick I needed to be like, yeah, all right, this is happening, right? Like, it's now or never, really. Like, if I don't capture it now, I'm never going to.
Yeah, that's why I'm curious where you will go forward with this now, because yeah, the SRS is over, and as you said, you collect the data, and most people say continue with the racing, either in championship or not championship form. But earlier, like good while ago, you were not even sure if you wanted to continue the YouTube stuff, because you just felt like you had to do these race live streams because that was what has been the case before that.
Yeah,
now-
I think that was more in the early days, I guess.
Yeah,
but I
but
think over
Now
time...
you're in a different situation where SRS is ending, but where you will go with, you know, Ricochet, the YouTube channel. Okay, is it just gonna be the races that were before that? Is it gonna be the channel's sole identity? Or will you bring back the other side content that you had before that, the follow-up shenanigans, I guess, that you were doing outside of the main races? Or Friday streams or whatever, or they finally do videos, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it's all on the table. It's just whether or not I have the time and the motivation to do it is the bigger question. But I mean, yeah, I do think content over the next weeks and months is definitely going to be dominated by this, because this is, you know, the thing that I want to... Well, not really I need to put more eggs into for it to work. But, you know, I do still have, you know, maybe here and there I will try some other ideas out as we go along, but we'll see.
If anything, this is your chance kinda to branch out, try out other stuff. Not like you were already, what is it, locked down to just doing this. Still have the option to do other stuff, but if anything, this is the clear chance now for you to try other stuff. At least that's what it looks like from the outside.
Kinda, yeah, but I do want to I do want to try and make sure that this lands well. I don't want to. And I don't want to necessarily muddy the waters with too much at the moment. If it might, I don't know. I've kind of lost the plot here. But I don't know. Other stuff is always on the table, but I do think my main priority now is to just get the racing stuff right and get that off the ground. I always have ideas ticking that do and don't relate to this. And most of the time I never do them, but sometimes I do. I wouldn't mind making these like Friday live streams a little more regular. I mean, it's something I've talked about a lot over time, but yeah, it is more, you know, finding something, the consistent time and motivation to do them is kind of a different question. And one that I can't really answer because me in 2 weeks could be in a completely different space than me now.
I feel like one thing that could help you in the long run is retroactively editing down all the live streams into videos, so the newer viewers or those who will approach you once you're in this transition phase can still keep up with the hustle of going over hours of live streams and seeing you spin on the first lap.
God fucking damn it.
Because I'm not gonna lie, as much as I enjoy experiencing stuff in the real time, I'm not going back to rewatch stuff that often, and it's a nice addition. Like, that's one thing that I personally enjoyed with my short-lived, I guess, live streaming stuff. I'm not sure if I will return to it or not, but that's one thing that I enjoyed with when I was doing the live streaming with online racing, is that going on and editing them down into videos, because then I see it, you know, after what happened, like after the race, and then see what actually happened, and be like, yeah, okay, this was cool, this was alright, this one in the middle we don't need it, so cut it down, and then weeks later or months later, if I feel like it, I can go back and watch back that race and still see those moments, or still see those stream moments back to back. These conversations also, even if I don't edit all of it down into videos, I still go back to it once every so times, I don't know, like once every 2 months or once every 3 months, just to remind myself where was my stand on certain topics, if I still hold on to those topics or not. See how things have changed, like we touched on it with the AI slop stuff recently happening. When I heard of that, I remembered we talked about this like last year or so. Went there and we like went point by point over what we think of it, and the conclusion was that the tech is cool, it's down to how people use it.
Yeah.
And that sentimental, like, I think the sentiment, that sentence is still true to this day, I feel, with everything that came out since. Like, whether you for it or against it, some of his AI stuff is okay. There's a lot of slop, there's a lot of how should I put it, gray zone, there's a lot of terrible stuff that it happens with thanks to it. A recent example of cancer patient getting scammed thanks to something that was written with an AI coder. But at the same time, there's also game jams that get happened. That like people who have no interest in it can try it out. Maybe actually get into it the normal way around. After that, it opens the door for stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely.
But I would probably forget some of my takes on this stuff if I wouldn't edit it down to myself or keep note of it, because we as humans weren't really made to process the amount of stuff that we get on our the amount of stuff that we experience day to day these days. The stuff that we are exposed to.
Yeah. Honestly, I guess kind of talking about videos, it's good you do mention about like doing like compilations and stuff with streams. There's two kind of points I want to hit on with that. One is that I have had an idea over this final SRS season. I do kind of want to maybe try and sit down and try and compile maybe not inherently a top 10 races, but kind of like some selection of highlights of some description, whether that be like, I don't know, a top 10 races or just a bunch of clips or moments and whatnot, to kind of commemorate the time that I've had.
I can already tell you I can already tell you it would be a way too big project for the start. I would rather recommend starting out from the start and like just processing with it season and by season.
I mean, yeah,
and then once you're done with all of those videos, in the meantime you would keep all of those, not necessarily project files to yourself, but all of those edited videos on your hard drive as well. And once you're done with it, let's say the first 10 series, then you would do a compilation of moments from those first 10 series into a separate video. And once you're done with all of the other series, then you can again do a compilation of the compilation.
I mean, yeah, it is.
And then you would. Then you would reach that top whatever kind of video you want. But when I first did that video that went over just that 2 series that I took part in for the first time in SRS, the Audi and at the same time the Ginetta series, I made sure to make one giant video that put together the events from all of those races. And it took a long time, and like, no shit, Sherlock, it's almost 12 races in one video with editing. And then, not learning from that, I did the same thing later, and again, and I piled into that one gigantic video that is now on my channel and hasn't got a single view since it came out. Like, after the initial wave of interest. Like, Circuit Stage is without a doubt the biggest project I did. It's literally years of racing piled into one video. And I don't think it's achieving what it's meant to be, or achieve it in a good way, and I wouldn't do it again. And with how YouTube changed over the years and how people are treating YouTube and what type of people YouTube collects or brings in, I don't think I would be able to do it. Just the simple fact that all this music that I used in that video, that again, like all the races were posted separately leading up to that, just without the voiceover over it. I think that was a big problem, but then again, I don't think it would have brought any better either way if they had the voiceover under it or not. But just the fact that ever since that video came out, that giant movie edit, what do we have now? A bunch of channels making AI music. It's literally almost impossible now to find on YouTube new Eurobit remixes that are about, just people use it and it's not in copyright claim system or whatever.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, there's a real problem of AI generated music being in a copyright system. And from what I've heard, Spotify finally tapping it after years. But like, if on YouTube you search Eurobit remix and put in the filter to only show stuff that came out in a month or two, month or a year, it's full of channels that either repost stuff or it's just fully AI generated. Some of them sound okay, I guess. Kitty Club, okay. But it's not a standard I wouldn't drop down to with what I did before. Like, I wouldn't use those. It's just taking, like that's a perfect example of slop taking away the opportunity from actual creators to go up. And also some of them songs that I used in Circus Stage, some of the creators that were featured in it, one of them got a bit too political to my liking to use his music from now on, so no. That just died out to me.
Unfortunate. But yeah, no, I don't deny that doing that kind of video would be a fair chunk of work, but I mean, it's kind of the right time to do it, I guess. Also, this cruise ship feels comedically large.
The texture does stretched out on it if you check the window there. Yeah,
Yeah.
those windows.
I can't get close enough. Yeah, it does seem kind of stretched. Yeah. But I don't know. I feel like maybe tackling something relatively large would be maybe a bit of the kick I need to actually finally put together a better. I think one of the big things that's kind of held me back from being maybe as proactive as I should be, or as I maybe like to be with videos, is that I don't really have a good workflow set up at the moment to get. So I'm kind of just making life harder for myself. And that's something that I need to fix. If I do want to make more consistent videos.
Yeah, I just don't advise starting with that big of a project. Because
I mean,
it's just as likely that you will get burned out of it.
Yeah, but I mean, I have done similar things before, so I think it is doable. Whether or not I'm happy with the end product, I don't know. Probably not. But that's just how the cookie crumbles.
Yeah,
usually.
that's the thing. You want to make stuff that you are happy with at the end of it. You don't want to rush it, just so you can get it out. That's why I would. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just suggesting that you do it smarter.
Yeah. I'm not guaranteeing it'll be out before the season's over, but I would like to do it probably before the end of the year.
Then by that point it's too late, I feel.
I mean, yeah, but
like, I would suggest that right now, you would like go ahead and download the on if you have it on your PC, maybe the first season that you did on SRS and make a highlight edit of that first season.
Well, I've already done that. Unless you
just
mean
want-
my first hosted season.
The first hosted season, yeah.
Oh, then no. Because I did the highlights of James's BTCC season all the way back then. And I also then did the full... I did that, which I did that race by... well, kind of race by race. I did the first 3, I think, race by race, then, like, a couple of races had to get clumped together because I couldn't get one of them out in time. So I was just like, fuck it, I'll snowball these 2 races in together into one. And then for the Estonia, I did do a full season recap for the Estonia. There's like one video talking about the championship. So I have done stuff like that before. But yeah, no, I would have to collect all the footage and all the information I need, ideally before the... Like, that would have to be done before, I think, SRS dies, because, you know, I'd want to look at, like, data and stuff like that from... or on the, like, result sheets and stuff like that. On top of
Gonna
digging out
be
all the
honest
replay
here.
files and
Gonna be honest here.
streams.
I'm gonna be honest. I watched those. I watched that Estonia recap when it came out. I'm gonna be honest. I skipped the part where he talked about in the points.
No, I mean,
But
like,
those-
these aren't gonna necessarily be, it's not
Like,
necessarily
if that's the type of video you're thinking about,
no. But I'd like to look at the results, because then I can kinda, it can help me remind about things, right? Like, I have a definitive list of who was in the race, where everyone finished. I'm not gonna go into detail about, like, these things, but it's more, you know, I'm not gonna go into
But
too
didn't
much...
you already go over that during the live stream? Go to the score settings after each race.
Yeah, but some of them...
So you would just need to download the live streams and go to that point, take a screenshot, and there you are.
Yeah, but I mean, if I maybe
there's
want to...
text, there's text extractor features as well.
Yeah, but if
for
I
Windows.
say I wanted to do, like, I don't know, maybe if I wanted to feature a Monday race that was really fun, I didn't record any of those, so
You just go to Donny's stream.
I don't know if he looked through the results though. That's the other thing.
You're just making it more complicated for no reason now.
No, I'm just saying that it would be, you know, I want to pull as much information as I can so that when I go and put everything together, I can go in with knowledge of the race and what happened, right? Because there's no point me going and saying, oh, that was pretty cool, but not having any recollection of what really happened beyond the specific moment. Because sometimes, like, the build-up to
So
the
you're
moment...
still aiming for a recap video instead of just downloading the live streams and cut them into one video.
I don't know what I'm going to make, but I want...
Because
I want
what I'm
as
suggesting
much-
is just what I'm suggesting is literally just that, maybe with some fancy edits here and there. Like most of the
Yeah.
time when I was editing video down, I do remember what happened here and there. When I'm not, I'm just looking at the YouTube chat replay and turn on timestamps, and when someone says something, I can go to that part. But more often than not, the only thing I really need to look at is the audio file in the editor. Because when I'm talking, I'm reacting to something or say something. So I just listen to the part in real time. If it sounds interesting, I keep it in. If it doesn't sound interesting, I cut it out. Then they're
Listen, I
not really
don't-
needed.
I don't want it to be a live stream highlights video. I want it more to be a race highlights, right? Talking more about what happened in the race rather than like if I start talking about random shit in the race, which I usually do, even if it is really interesting stuff, then like that's not going to be part of this. But like I'd like to, like I don't really know what that end video is going to look like yet, right? I haven't really thought about it too much, but I'd like to collect a load of information first, so that I know what I have to work with, and then I can figure out what to make from that, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I don't
Like
know.
it-
Usually, from my experience, even when I collect that stuff for videos, when it comes to the editing, it's likely that the direction of the video will change for you, and then
I
you
mean,
end up
yeah, it will.
effectively editing the video, because there were very much a few videos in my past where I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do this type of videos, and then as I'm editing it, I'm not feeling it, and I edit it into something else.
Oh yeah,
One of the last videos that I did before I decided to go on hiatus is the Halo video. Now that video is about under 20 minutes, so one of the funnier moments when we played Reach.
yeah.
Originally it was meant to be an hour-long video with other topics that we were discussing, because I originally felt like editing it into a long play. But like we go over the entire game in that one video, and it's not really spoiler heavy. It's not really serious. It's stuff like what happened in it would still be mostly the funny stuff.
Yeah.
But I just didn't feel like it would work enough. And guess what? The video didn't even work in its final state either. So I don't know how it would have worked if it was 4 times as long. I still enjoyed the outcome. I think it's funny. I feel the start of it as a slow run. I don't think the end workings are right, but stuff in it, especially the elevator part,
Yeah, the elevator.
that's cool.
Well, we spent way
But-
too long there.
But like we planned to continue Halo after that with the series. We
Yeah.
haven't finished up Halo 1
No.
since. But if we get to it, there's gonna be like a 4-month skip between recordings. So even if I will do something similar, I think it's more likely that I will just post the main funny stuff from it. And
Oh, yeah.
again, it's gonna be an elevator clip in Halo 1.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. Assault in the control room. But yeah, no, like I do, like, obviously I know that, like, you know, when making a video, things will change. Like, as you make it, you're like, actually, nah, I want to do something different with this. But also, like, can I fall through the floor? Oh no, there's a step down, I think. Oh yeah, there's a step down. Also do kind of click into the floor. But also, like, yeah, I do know also that, like, you know, I likely won't use most of the information I get, right? But I'd rather have it than not have it. Instead of, like, only getting the bare minimum and then being like, oh, I wish I had, like, this piece of information. And then not being able to have it. It's like, sure, while the results and stuff of the races may not seem that important on paper, and likely won't be that relevant to the overall video, you know, if I want to interject specific numbers here and there, like, oh, if we have a really close finish, I can look at the, you know, the AC replay and the live stream. I might not have seen the gaps necessarily on the live stream. I can go and look at the results and get a clean look from that. And sometimes on the live streams, the results didn't come through immediately. So I didn't look at them then. And, like, I have no idea what Enrique's gonna do once once this series finishes. He could go scorched earth, he could leave it up. I don't know. It's not my say, so I would like to scrape up a lot of information,
Oh, in that sense, yeah, it makes sense.
just to make sure that I have it in the case that I might need it. Yeah, when it comes to actually putting the video together, who fucking knows? I mean, there was one off-kilter video project I was working on a little while ago. Actually, I
By
said
the way,
a little while ago.
I would love it if you were this straightforward for every single question of mine, by the way, as you were just right now in that last second. When it comes to the video, who the fuck knows? I would love it if you were responding to everything like this.
It's hard though, because
Just short
sometimes I
to the
feel like
point.
some questions do have. I feel like some questions have a lot more nuance to them, and I can't. I will like. I feel like if I can give a confident, straight answer, I will. If I can't, then I can't.
Then you
Yeah,
just say yes and no and wait for us to roll our eyes.
Yeah. But sometimes I don't think I can give a yes or a no. Sometimes it's a
just
yes
say, "I
but
don't
no,
know."
or a no but yes.
But just say, I don't know.
I think live streams aren't always the best place to ask me questions either, because, well, I guess it's not a bad place.
Says the guy who has a Q&A stream right now.
Okay. Yeah, that came out wrong. But you see, that perfectly illustrates my point, right? Everything's off the cuff. Like, if you want, like, exact, direct responses from me, you're not going to get them on a live stream. Unless, like, I already know the answer. That's why I went and made that video after last week's stream to talk about the foreman stuff, right? I mean, I made it at like 2 a.m. and I sounded dead as fuck, but I wanted to get it out because, you know, I wanted to kind of speak a little more succinctly on it. Whereas in like the live stream, I'm just kind of mentioning shit off the cuff whenever. And I mean, even this, we've been going for nearly 4 hours now of just talking nonsense, right? And there's a lot of
Yeah, the
stuff.
difference
here.
is I will know how will I approach this recording. Just look at the audio file when we talk. Does it sound fitting? Does it not?
I mean, we've been talking the whole thing,
Yeah.
so a
Yeah.
bit tricky there. But yeah, I did
like
have a
in the previous version, previous talks as well. It's never been just one video that came out of this parts, at least on my end.
yeah.
It's usually been at least 2 or 3 different videos that were roughly around similar topics, or like stayed on a topic. Amazing.
Maybe the most polished video game. But yeah, kind of back to what I was saying a little bit. There was a video project I was working on a while ago. I never really finished because it was a bit of a bigger one. I got probably like halfway through it, I think. I never finished it. Because it was quite a fair bit of work. Because it was turning like essentially like a 4-hour recording into like, I don't know, like a 10-20 minute video. But also I had to explain a lot because it wasn't a racing game or anything at all, but I thought it was an interesting video to make because it was a really funny playthrough of a like early version of a video game. And it was funny to see like the game like slowly like discombobulate itself as we played through. I kind of never finished that. Because it took too long. But like, yeah, I kind of think every now and then I should go back and finish it, but I have like absolutely no idea like how I'd really continue because it's been so long now. Well, it's been a couple of years now, I think, maybe. It's been at least over a year now. But I've like forgotten a lot of the information. So I'd have to go back and watch the whole 4 hours again to really remember what happened.
Have you thought about getting an editor? Not for taking over from editing your stuff into videos, but getting as a I should say it, outsider's view. So like a different perspective on it. It wouldn't need to go out on YouTube, but like just getting an idea of what would someone else think of your content edited into a video. Like let's say, just give them like 1 or 2 live streams, edit it down into whatever you think you would watch from it. Get the video back, and then you can discuss it with people like us and see if that perspective on your raw content is something that aligns with you or with us,
Is this
and then get it as a reference point of some sort.
is this you putting forward your job application then?
I have a lot of stuff to edit on my own, so no. And I guess if I were to do that, you already know what kind of videos would come out of that, so it would be useless for me to do that.
I don't know about that. Yeah, I don't know. I would say
In a way, I've already did that with your content, if you remember, because I did ask permission to edit
Yeah.
your perspective of one of these talks.
Yeah, oh god, this ship feels even bigger. Why are they so big? But yeah, no, I'd say no, because I wouldn't, like, it's not something I'd expect someone to do for free, because I know doing it myself how time consuming that would be.
Oh, I didn't mention. I'm fully aware that nobody would do it. like when I say outsider's perspective, I'm more like, yeah, you contact someone on Fiverr, pay them like the minimal or what they require or what they ask for. Like with other stuff, you can see it as videos as well. For example, like we contacted 5 different guys, or we hired 5 or 6 different person on Fiverr to edit this video down for us. I've seen that with like CS:GO stuff. They hand them a clip and okay, show us how you would edit this, and in some cases they literally just added black bars to the screen and called it a day. And sometimes they send back a very cool frag movie.
Yeah.
But I don't really see that with sim racing stuff. I guess.
I mean, I see where you're coming from, but no, I feel like my channel is too small to really consider doing that, because if I was to do it, I would have to pay for it out of pocket, and I feel like it would probably end up costing more money than it's realistically worth. At least for me.
Alright. Just a suggestion.
Oh yeah, no, I do appreciate the suggestion, but that's personally what I think. But yeah, I don't know. It is an interesting thought. That probably has crossed my mind at some point, but yeah.
I didn't expect to be in the position of a therapist, right? But then again, a few minutes ago, with the reversed roles,
Yeah.
when you were going around Laguna Circle, then I was the patient.
Therapy session. I'll rename the stream to that afterwards.
Hi, Craig.
God. Anyways, yeah, we've driven to GTA 6 and we're at the beach, and I think we've used up all the steam for the live stream. So I think this is probably a good spot to wrap it up.
Same
So,
place
yeah.
next week.
Probably not next week. No.
Alright, see you next year.
But yeah, that was good. I think we got some pretty good stuff out of that. So yeah, no. I mean, I'll still be around here on the Discord, but I will go and quickly wrap things up on the live side. So yeah, no, thanks everyone for coming out. Just gonna be quick and wrap things up here. So yeah, obviously back on Tuesday with the normal. We did discuss the form results a lot here, but if you haven't done it still, it is still open. It will still be open. But yeah, I likely will have some more stuff coming out in the coming days as to where we're going forward. But yeah, this weekend they will be doing some research and whatnot into that. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, for now, that's all. Thanks to everyone who came out and joined in. Thanks to especially to all the participants in the call who are here or who were here. And yeah, I'll see you all around. Adios.